Chapter 1379, Magic Baby, New Demon Body. Chapter 1379, Magic Baby, New Demon Body. In such a situation, the chances of Long Fei surviving were close to zero. Everyone in the city looked at Long Fei. At this moment, outside the secret world, the trembling of the Punish Evil's secret territory weakened and eventually disappeared. The elder Chang Dao immediately ordered some people to come here, but they did not open the exit. That scene in the secret world. Elder Chang Dao laughed. Hee hee. With so many evils in your body, even if you don't die, your life will be over. Ha ha. Long Fei, do you feel good going against me? The elder Chang Dao laughed coldly. He muttered in his heart, I never thought that Demon's Gathering Pill would actually have such great power. Many of the surrounding oracles sneered in disdain. Serves you right. One of the oracles said, Elder, do you want to go out now? The elder Chang Dao said, No rush. Let's properly enjoy the temporary scene before him. This must be extremely fun. But at this moment, Elder Chang Dao frowned and immediately closed his eyes. A few seconds later, the Yisung descended and asked, How was the assessment? Elder Chang Dao regained his composure and replied, reporting to the elders, Everything is normal. Yisung nodded and said, And report to me immediately if anything happens. Elder Chang Dao replied, Yes, disciple. After that, the Yisung left. He lowered his voice and said, No one is allowed to say a single word about what happened today. Understood. The oracle disciples all nodded. The disciples of the exam all had a huge background. In order to deal with Long Fei, they were treated as cannon fodder. If this matter were to spread, he would be severely tortured by the Tower question of God. It would be hard to turn things around in his life. Disregarding the safety of this disciple was a serious crime. Elder Chang Dao smirked and said, Prepare to die inside. In the secret world, the evil qi started to crazily rush into Long Fei's body, and at the end started to crazily absorb the evil qi from the secret world. Gradually, the power in the great perfection, heavenly tribulation controlled the initiative and crazily devoured the ancient evil energy of the secret world. The ancient evil energy that had entered Long Fei's body started to revolve crazily, forming a huge vortex. The center of the vortex was the power of the heavenly tribulation at the perfection stage. Long Fei felt a power about to erupt. There was a force to be awakened. That very familiar feeling. Half an hour later, boom. The entire Punish Evil secret territory's ancient evil qi was completely absorbed, and with a sudden retraction, Long Fei floated in midair. The eyes were black. His entire body was covered in an evil black aura, making him look like an evil demon. He has become an evil spirit. Stop controlling the demons. Everyone be careful. The disciples outside the city became cautious. Nan Gongyan and Yi Jingyan also slowly retreated. If Long Fei was really controlled by the evil demon, then they would be in danger. They were all on guard. However, all the citizens of Evil City kneeled down. Thank you for saving us. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Long Fei had absorbed all the evil in their bodies, and they had now become normal people. They would forever remember this favor, no matter how Long Fei turned into. Without Long Fei, they would still be controlled by the demons. At this moment, as the citizens of the city kneeled down to thank Long Fei, the things on their bodies slowly flew up, gathering around Long Fei bit by bit. Boom! The power in Long Fei's body moved suddenly and completely absorbed the crystal clear light into his body. Boom! Another rumble. The energy on Long Fei's body began to wreak havoc as the whirlpool of ancient evil qi swirled even more fiercely. It did not spin outwards, but turned inward and started to absorb the energy into the great perfection stage, heavenly tribulation. What are you trying to do? Don't tell me he devoured all of the ancient demonic energy. F***CK. What is that power inside your father's body? Long Fei himself was a little dazed. The last time he felt Xianyuan Great Emperor's aura being devoured, it was just too strange. The Azura King once said that there was an even greater power hidden within his body. Long Fei did not know what that power was after devouring the essence energy of Great Emperor Xianyuan, and now he's come to devour such a massive amount of ancient evil energy. Just what the hell is this power? Boom, boom. Long Fei's body was like a spiral galaxy, gathering the spirit energy that was being absorbed by the commoners and followed the ancient evil chi into the energy. A deafening explosion. Long Fei did not feel any discomfort. On the contrary, he felt incomparably comfortable, just like the spring breeze blowing against his face. Rumble. A loud sound echoed out. All of the ancient evil aura was drawn into that power. At this moment, the energy expanded and suddenly surged as it began to frantically condense. The energy in his body was like that of a pregnant child. This feeling was similar to the one he had when he was at the 9th level of the God's Bone taboo, and it felt like he was about to be born. 3 minutes later, buzz. A loud explosion resounded from his body. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Magic Baby. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining a special reward from the system. The reward is the demon god of the 9 tribulations sword. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Magic Baby with a special reward of level +1. Ding! Congratulations to the player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, 3 level. He had just gained 1 billion experience from killing the shadow of evil god, and his level rose from star level 7 to Chin level 2. Now, he was level up again. Ding! Congratulations to the player Long Fei for obtaining Magic Body. Would you like to convert it? Demonic body. He was back. Moreover, it was not only the devil body. Long Fei could clearly feel the energy coming from the god's Stellastone and the God's Bone taboo that were suppressing Hanba from within the Magic Baby. The Magic Baby had fused with them. F***CK me. Long Fei slowly descended to the ground. His entire body was extremely excited. My devil body has returned. Ha ha. Become stronger. Magic body. Powerful. Ha ha ha. Not only that, Long Fei's body did not have any evil chi, and he did not have any demonic powers. He was as pure as an angel, because all of the demonic energy had been absorbed by the Magic Baby. It was the embodiment of evil in the ancient times, and was also the result of refinement by a perfect God's suffering force. His strength, immeasurable. However, right now, he was only in the nascent soul stage. Just like a baby in its infancy, he needed to grow. Long Fei silently thought in his heart, just what is that power in my body? Could actually produce magic body? Isn't this too unbelievable? The key point was that that force had only been able to reveal 2 tiny sprouts. Just like a bean sprout, having such powerful strength at this stage, what would happen when he grew up? It was also at this time. The elder Chang Dao smiled and said, "You can open the secret world's exit now." Chapter 1380, Perfect Achievements. Chapter 1380, Perfect Achievements. What's the situation with Long Fei? Did the demons take control of his body? No one knew. At this time, the secret world's gate suddenly opened, causing everyone to be shocked. However, they did not hesitate and quickly escaped the secret world, not daring to stay for long. "Young Master Kwang, let's go out." No matter what, This kid is useless today and doesn't have the qualifications to compete with you. Exactly. Even if he had not been possessed by the evil demons, he could not save a single person. What are the criteria for the examination? Save him, save him. Had he done it? No. Even if we go out, it would still be 0 points. Ha ha ha. The group of people besides Song Kwang all started to mock him. They had all seen clearly that from start to finish, Long Fei had never saved anyone, not even a single soul. Even the commoners in Punish Evil's secret territory had all been saved by him. But what were the criteria for a mission? To save the city, and not just the city. None of the Long Fei's had scored a single point in their second round of examinations. Song Kwang also started to laugh complacently. He looked at Yi Jingyun, who was not far away, and laughed. The young master of the Yi family, you want to follow him? The more you muddle through, the more miserable you'll get. Ha ha ha. Song Kwang laughed proudly and turned to walk towards the exit of the secret world. Yi Jingyun did not bother about him. He walked over quickly to Long Fei's side and asked, "Is young Master Long all right?" Nangong Yin also looked at Long Fei from afar and did not speak. Long Fei gently shook his head and said, "It's fine. Go out." Yi Jingyun nodded and said, "Okay." His heart was in shock. On the surface, it looked like Long Fei was fine, but in reality, what was going on? Yi Jingyun wasn't confident either. How could it be all right under those circumstances? Long Fei stopped by Nangong Yan's side for a moment, then walked towards the exit. Nangong Yan still did not speak. Finally, when Long Fei disappeared at the exit of Secret World, her tears dropped with a pada sound. In that instant, Evil God Palace unleashed a powerful force. Buzz. It directly exploded in Nangong Yan's sea of consciousness. Boom. Boom. One by one, the examination disciples came out of the secret world, all of them feeling as if they had just survived a disaster. The instant Long Fei came out from the secret world, the gazes of all the Oracle's tightened. He's still alive. Impossible. How can he still be alive? He doesn't even die. They were very surprised by Long Fei's appearance, because they clearly saw that Long Fei was about to die inside the secret world. More importantly, his aura was not that of a star-level cultivator. It was that of someone breaking through to the Chen level. Could it be that he broke through in such a short period of time? The moment Long Fei walked out, he saw Song Kwang whispering by Elder Chang Dao's side. Yi Jingyun immediately said, "That brat Song Kwang must be in top secret. Young Master Long, this time I'm afraid." The corner of Long Fei's mouth lifted slightly and said, "Don't worry." Demon's Gathering pill was not an ordinary pill. It was a pill that could take a person's life. Since you want to play, then let's see who plays who to death. Long Fei secretly sneered in his heart. Elder Chang Dao nodded slightly as an ice-cold smile appeared on his face. He silently thought in his heart, "Kid, I won't kill you this time around." The last one to come out was Nangong Yin. When she came out, the secret world doors closed. It was also at this time that the elder of Isung walked into the training grounds. With a faint smile on his face, he said, "Seems like your performance in this assessment is not bad." Then, the Isung looked at Elder Chang Dao and said, "Have the results come out?" Elder Chang Dao immediately said, "Real statistics." The Isung elder looked at Long Fei, who was at the back of the crowd, and said, "Punish Evil's secret territory. The test is to save someone, and that is to test your kind heart. The number of people saved is not the only criterion." As soon as he finished, many people's faces turned cold. What's the situation? Didn't we use the number of people who can save to determine the result? That's right. Why did it become a test of the human heart again? No matter what the test is about, we won't lose. Don't forget, there's still someone with 0 points. Ha ha. Ha ha ha. Many people looked at Long Fei, who was at the back of the crowd. All of Long Fei's attention was on the magic baby. Although he was Long Fei's new demon body, even without changing his body, he could still feel it. The power in his body was very strong. Furthermore, the demon god of the 9 tribulations sword was spinning in the infant's hand. The power of the 9 tribulations sword was the strongest black, dark magician power Long Fei had felt so far. It was as if God's suffering force was being born in that sword, and it was the power of the dark tribulation. How strong was he? Long Fei really wanted to experience it. He was extremely engrossed and did not pay any attention to the surrounding people's mockery, nor did he care about it at all. A few minutes later, one of the envoys said, "Elder, according to their identity token, the results have been calculated." Iseng said, "Take it up for me to take a look." Oracle handed it over, and Iseng took a look at it. His gaze was startled and stared straight at Long Fei, who was behind the group of people, his face secretly trembling. Seeing his expression, and seeing the way he was staring at Long Fei, Elder Chang Dao laughed coldly in his heart. "Brat, you got another 0, right? Ha ha ha. Unbelievable. To think that you would get 100 points, the first 100 points in the history of the second round of the examination. Even Zhan Wushuang, this kind of genius who had decided on things, only got 90 points. You actually managed to achieve a perfect score." Iseng was shocked. As soon as he finished, everyone was shocked. Who got 100 points? Who else can it be? He's definitely our young Master Kwong. He's the one who saved the most people. Who else could he be? Ha ha ha. Young Master Kwong, congratulations. There are very few people that can surpass Zhan Wushuang and her. Young Master Kwong is too awesome. Song Kwong also laughed excitedly. If someone scored 100 points in this exam, it would undoubtedly be him. Song Kwong slightly cupped his fists, revealed a pleased smile, and said, "Tonight, Song Kwong, will treat everyone to a meal. Everyone should go down the mountain for a meal. You can order whatever you want to eat." Ha ha ha. Everyone began to congratulate him. "Congratulations, young Master Kwong. Congratulations, young Master Kwong. Young Master Kwong. The first place of the examination this time will definitely be yours. Young Master Kwong, you are too powerful." Many people began to praise him. Song Kwong looked at Long Fei, who was at the side, and sneered. He turned to Yi Jingyun and said, "Young Master Yi, I think you should just follow a piece of trash in the future." He was showing off. Yi Jingyun was a little unhappy. Song Kwong started to laugh complacently. He was extremely pleased with himself. Elder Chang Dao felt that something was amiss when he saw Song Kwong. He walked up to him and asked, "Clan Elder, just who got the perfect score in the end?" Unexpectedly, there are even more of them than Zhan Wushuang. Iseng laughed blandly. "Long Fei?" Chapter 1381. Bro, just like that. Chapter 1381. Bro, just like that. Long Fei? With that, the entire audience shook. There was complete silence. Song Kwong, on the other hand, stood on the spot with a stupefied face, completely dumbstruck, as if he had been slapped in the face by someone, his expression extremely ugly. Elder Chang Dao was also stunned, and asked again, "Clan Elder, are you saying that Long Fei has gotten a perfect score?" Yi Sung smiled slightly. "That's right, he has reached the perfect standard for this assessment. Other than him, a few others have good results. Yi Jingyun, 96 points. Nangong Yen, 95. Li Changfeng, 94. Song Kwong, your results are also pretty good, at 80 points. The results came out one by one. Everyone was dumbfounded. The results of these people were simply a huge blow to Song Kwong. One slap after another sounded out as their bodies sunk in. the rage within them attacking Song Kuang's heart, and his entire person spitting out a mouthful of fresh blood. Uff, with an extremely pale face, he said, "Impossible, impossible, this is impossible. I saved the most people, and I should be the one with the best results. It can't be that trash." Everyone was puzzled. Even the elder Chong, Dao, did not quite understand. How could this be? Yi Jingyun also had a face full of doubt, and so were his brothers around him. They were the ones with the highest scores, but they were just like him. In terms of saving a few people, they were not even able to save a tenth of Song Kuang. Suddenly, Yi Jingyun's face sank, and he suddenly thought of something. He turned around to look at Long Fei, and the worship in his heart became even more intense. "Young Master Long, you already know everything." "Young Master Yi, are you talking about the matter of Young Master Long making us feed the exorcism pill to the common people? This is too strong, isn't it? How is that possible?" If Yi Jingyun had not insisted them to give the exorcism pills on their bodies to the wounded commoners to eat, they would not even care about the lives of those people. Moreover, when Long Fei was last absorbed into the body by the evil god, they regretted it immensely because the exorcism pill had already been used up by that time. They once hated Long Fei, but now there was only respect and worship for Long Fei. Too strong. Song Kuang rushed forward and said with a heavy tone, "Impossible! I saved the most people, and it's impossible for it to be that trash who is the best result." Yi Jingyun immediately shouted out, "Song Kuang, who are you calling a trash?" Song Kuang's eyes stared wide open as he shouted, "I said he is trash, and not only is he trash, he is also an evil demon." Song Kuang suddenly turned around and pointed at Long Fei, who was behind the group of people. Long Fei lowered his head and thought deeply, "How should I raise the level of the magic baby?" He was thinking about this right now. As for the results, as for the gazes of the surrounding people, he didn't even spare them a glance. Sensing that the surroundings had quietened down, Long Fei raised his head and muttered, "Dismissed." With that, he turned around and was about to leave. The elder Chong Dao shook violently and shouted, "Long Fei, you are too presumptuous to actually dare to disregard your elders. If I don't teach you a lesson, you won't even know your limits." At this moment, the magic baby raised its eyes. Suddenly, Long Fei's gaze turned sinister as his anger flared up, and he said, "You're giving me a lesson? If you have the guts, come at me." "You're not coming. You're my grandson." The nascent soul lifted its eyes. Anger. The anger instantly ignited Long Fei. Elder Chong Dao's eyes turned sinister as he immediately became angry. "You're too arrogant." Long Fei grinned and laughed. "It's not the first time you've heard about it. I've been arrogant since I was young." "Ah." Elder Chong Dao was so angry that smoke was coming out from his head, but under his rage, he let out a cold laugh and said, "Don't be impatient. Let's see how you can continue being so arrogant today." While they were talking, he looked at Song Kuang. Song Kuang immediately said, "Elder, I seriously doubt their results, and I have something to say." Iseng also felt that it was a little strange. Zhan Wushuang was an existence of super geniuses, but even he did not manage to achieve a perfect result. So how did Long Fei do it? Even he couldn't do it. Iseng slightly said, "I can't explain my perfect result, but I can give a clear explanation of Yi Jingyun, Nangong Yen, and the rest's result, because they gave their own magic pill to the citizens. This is great love. Even if they only saved one person, their result would still be above 90%. However," Iseng looked at Long Fei. Honestly, he also wanted to know how Long Fei did it. As soon as Iseng finished speaking, everyone was surprised. Giving exorcism pill to the common people in the evil killing place was disregarding their own life and death. Yi Jingyun's heart trembled. As expected, "Young Master Long is too awesome." Nan Gongyan's expression did not change at all because at that time, she already did not want to live anymore. Song Kuang's face sank, his fists clenched tight, and said, "Okay, even if Yi Jingyun and the others get high marks for their love, then what about Long Fei? What about his results? Did he give his magic pill to the common people as well?" Yi Seng's brows tightened. He looked at Long Fei and said, "Long Fei, do you want to explain it to everyone?" The corner of Long Fei's mouth curled up and said, "There's nothing much to explain. If you really want me to explain, there's only one reason. Explain? Explain your big boss. Why explain?" Song Kuang immediately laughed out loud and said, "Long Fei, everyone knows what happened in Secret World. It's useless to explain any further." At this moment, Yi Seng looked at the gathered oracle. One of the oracle stood up and replied, reporting to Great Clan Elder, "Long Fei's identity token shows that he saved the entire population of Evil City, and the number of people was 109,800. As soon as he finished, the entire arena was shocked. Even the Yi Sung himself was stunned. He was extremely excited and said, "Are you sure you did not count wrongly? Save the entire city? How is this an evil city, a place with dense ancient evil chi? Even if they were to save people, it would be impossible to save the entire city." Oracle slightly said, "I don't know about that, but his identity token shouldn't indicate anything wrong." "Ha ha ha." Yi Jingyun laughed loudly and said, "Song Kuang, did you hear it clearly? Yong, Master Long saved the whole city. What about you? How many people did you save?" "Ha ha ha. You think you can compete with Yong Master Long? You don't even have the qualifications to lick Yong Master Long's shoes. Ha ha ha. Save the whole city. What kind of concept was this?" Even Yi Sung would not be able to react in such a short time. She looked at Long Fei with a dumbstruck expression and muttered to herself in a low voice, "This is too unbelievable. The record of the identity token will not be wrong." Song Kuang's face revealed a cold smile and said, "So what if we have saved the entire city? Tower Question of God are people from the Light faction. Even if he passes the examination and is able to clear the 100 levels of Tower Question of God, what would happen if a person with an evil demon body enters the Light faction?" Yi Jingyun bellowed, "Song Kuang, stop speaking nonsense." Song Kuang immediately took a step forward and pointed at Long Fei's nose, saying, "Do you dare to test?" Chapter 1382, Breaking of All Fingers. Chapter 1382, Breaking of All Fingers with Evil in His Heart. This was no small matter. Once the evil energy in his heart was detected, even if the Tower Question of God did not pursue the matter, they could not let him continue to cultivate. This was a principle. Evil belongs to the Dark Army and cannot be allowed to join the Light faction. Long Fei slightly raised his eyes. Song Kuang proudly repeated, "Long Fei, do you dare to test?" Long Fei looked at the hand pointed at his face and said, "You better take your finger away, otherwise you'll break it later." "Ha ha ha." Song Kuang laughed complacently and said, "I'm already pointing it out. What can you do? You are an evil demon. You don't dare." Not waiting for him to finish, a roar that sounded like a pig being butchered rang out, and Song Kuang's hand was directly snapped off by Long Fei's single hand. His entire finger was stuck to the back of his hand. Long Fei said sinisterly, "I said it, your fingers will be cut off later." "How dare you?" Elder Changdao was secretly happy, but his face showed slight anger. "Long Fei, this is the examination grounds of the Tower Question of God. You dare to hurt me?" Long Fei's mouth curved up, revealing a disdainful smile. He stared at Elder Changdao and said, "So what if you're hurting people? If you don't like it, I'll hurt you too." "Too arrogant. Where's the oracle? Kill them all." When Elder Changdao's voice fell, the surrounding oracle immediately charged forward. Yi Jingyun also immediately moved closer to Xiang Longfei and said, "Elder, it's all because of Song Kwang. Clan Elder, Long Fei was too angry. So he did such a thing." At this time, the old man beside Nangong Yen asked, "Master, what should we do?" Nangong Yen stood at the side and said, "Don't worry, he can handle it." Song Kwang's entire body was in cold sweat from the pain. He shouted loudly, kill him for me. He is the evil demon, kill him." Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei stared coldly at Song Kwang and said, "You still like to shout, right? Then I'll let you scream your fill today." As soon as he finished, Long Fei's figure moved, and he directly grabbed onto Song Kwang's arm. His 5 fingers moved and grabbed onto one of Song Kwang's fingers as he fiercely broke it apart. Ah! A finger snapped. He tried again. Kacha! Ah! Kacha, kacha! A series of explosions occurred. All 10 fingers bent onto his arm, causing Song Kwang to be in pain. His face was pale white, as if he was a pig that was being butchered, and he was in so much pain that he wished he was dead. He fell to the ground and started twitching. Long Fei laughed coldly. "Enough!" Then, Long Fei looked at the surrounding oracle and laughed coldly. "You had best not provoke me," he said coldly. It carried with it an aura akin to being crushed by a king, the power of a demonic god's aura. Demonic god, martial saint, savage to the extreme. The surrounding oracle froze for a moment and slowly stopped. Elder Chong Dao's eyes darkened. He shouted, "Attack!" At this moment, Yi Jingyun and the 4 brothers immediately stood beside Long Fei. The Yi Seng's voice shook for a while before speaking in an imposing manner. "Stop!" Elder Chong Dao's brows tightened and said, "Elder, he looks down on the tower question of God. We can't leave such a disciple alive. If we don't kill him today, how will we deal with these people in the future? What will the people think of us? Where is our tower question of God's face?" Yi Seng's eyes turned cold, and he said, "Don't take your hat off." Then, Yi Seng looked at Long Fei and said, "The matter of the evil demon entering the body is extremely important. You must examine this matter. Otherwise, you cannot continue the tower question of God's examination." Song Kwang, who was enduring the pain, stood up and said, "Elder, everyone has seen him being absorbed by the evil chi. All of the evil chi in Secret World was absorbed by him. He is definitely an evil demon, I can guarantee with my head. As long as it was tested, Long Fei wouldn't be able to dodge. Then he would not be able to escape death today." Elder Chong Dao also took a step forward and said, "Elder, I heard a lot of people talking about this just now, that this brat was able to absorb that much evil chi and didn't die. He must have been controlled by the evil demons. Also, he clearly has an exorcism pill on him. Why didn't he use it? It can be seen that he has long since fallen into a demonic state of mind. This child cannot be allowed to live." Song Kwang glanced at them. Following that, someone immediately stood out and said, "I can guarantee that Song Kwang is speaking the truth. All of us have seen Long Fei being possessed by demons. I can guarantee it too. I can guarantee it." At this time, Song Kwang's lackeys all came forward. Elder Chong Dao sneered in his heart and said, "Elder, you cannot cause public outrage. It can be seen that there is something wrong with this Long Fei. He must be properly examined." At this moment, Long Fei's eyes darkened. He stared at Elder Chong Dao and said, "If I do not have any evil spirit chi, what will you do?" Elder Chong Dao said, "You have to check if you have any demonic chi in your body before you know." Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei immediately interrupted him and said, "I'll just ask you one thing. What will you do if I don't have any evil chi in my body?" Elder Chong Dao's words were cut off in a bad mood, adding Long Fei's arrogant tone. He became even more unhappy. He shouted loudly, "Kid, if you do not have any evil spirit chi, I will bow and apologize to you. But if you have evil demon chi, what do you think? Are you trying to scare me? I eat more salt than you eat rice." Would he be scared by you? Elder Chang Dao was not scared by Long Fei at all. He could see very clearly that Long Fei had been possessed by an evil demon, and in that situation, no matter how deep he hid, he would be detected. Long Fei said, "If there is any demonic qi in my body, I will let you handle it." "All right. Then I will take your life," Elder Chang Dao immediately shouted out. At this moment, Nangong Yen stepped forward, grabbed Long Fei's arm, and gently shook his head. Yi Jingyan was also worried. Everyone had seen Long Fei being infected by the evil qi, and Long Fei had even absorbed all of the ancient evil qi in the Punish Evil Secret territory. Tower question of God's detection of demons was very strict. There was no way to hide it. Song Kuang laughed out loud and said, "Brat, just die here today. I'll see how you still dare to be arrogant." The corner of Long Fei's eyes twitched. Looking at the laughing Song Kuang, he said, "Do you believe that I won't break your toes?" Song Kuang's body trembled. He swallowed his saliva, flipped his 10 fingers backwards, and immediately retreated a few steps, not daring to make a single sound. He was as frightened as a dead dog. Long Fei lightly patted the back of Nangong Yan's hand and said, "Don't worry, I will be fine." Finished, Long Fei walked up and asked, "How do we test it?" Elder Chang Dao laughed. "Refine 1 drop of blood essence." Long Fei followed suit, and after condensing a drop of his blood essence, he dripped it onto the black stone in Elder Chang Dao's hand. It was also at this time Elder Chang Dao lightly moved his finger, and a drop of blood essence shot out from his sleeve. Chapter 1383, Killing Intent Rose, and the Demonic God Moved. Chapter 1383, Killing Intent Rose, and the Demonic God Moved. "Brat, let's see how I'll play you to death." Elder Chang Dao laughed proudly in his heart. Even if Long Fei did not have any evil qi in his body, but the blood essence he just shot out was actually filled with a dense demonic aura. As long as they could detect the evil aura within Long Fei's blood essence, then it would be impossible for Long Fei to escape. The blood essence landed on the black stone. Slowly, his blood essence was absorbed by the black stone. The Elder Chang Dao revealed a proud smile before the result was out, and said, "Long Fei, you have lost for sure." "Is that so?" Long Fei sneered. He did not look at the test result of the black stone, because he did not need to look at it to know that his blood essence was his blood essence. The blood essence of a magic baby was the blood essence of 2 completely different bodies. The one who absorbed the evil aura was the magic baby, not him. Thus, no matter how hard they tried, they could not detect the demonic qi in Long Fei's body. However, Long Fei was not worried about the evil qi in his blood. He was worried about the tricks the Elder Chang Dao was up to. The demon's gathering pill was up to him. This time the evil qi test might cause him to do the same. All within that drop of blood essence, Long Fei injected a bit of power. Devouring power. Buzz. In that instant, Long Fei's blood essence permeated into the black stone, and the blood essence shot out by the Elder Chang Dao permeated into the black stone. Long Fei instantly felt it. "Fuck, you're still trying to scam me?" Long Fei's eyes turned sinister. Boom. The power from Long Fei's blood vein quickly devoured the drop of blood essence. A few seconds passed. There was no reaction from the black stone, nor was there any demonic qi seeping out. It was completely normal. Who lost? Long Fei laughed and stared at Elder Chang Dao. Elder Chang Dao's eyes darkened. He looked at Black Stone and said, "Impossible. You were obviously possessed by the evil demon. How can you not have any evil qi?" Song Kuang also looked confused and said, "Impossible. I clearly saw the demonic qi occupy his body. How can there be no reaction?" The one who was the most shocked was Nangong Yen. Her heart was filled with shock, because she knew very clearly that the one who entered Long Fei's body was the shadow of evil God, and that he possessed the power of the evil God. After checking, Long Fei's blood essence did not have the slightest fluctuation from the evil energy at all. It was too strange. In her heart, she thought, Long Fei, do you still have any stronger trump cards? How much power are you hiding? The more he opened, the more he couldn't understand. Long Fei was too strong, and when he thought of the last words that the evil god had said to her, Nangong Yen frowned and looked at Long Fei, but his eyes did not move at all. I won't. I won't. You must have done something. I clearly saw your body being occupied by that evil aura with my own eyes. It's impossible for your body to not have that evil aura. Elder Changdao was shocked. Long Fei immediately said, Oh, so you have been keeping an eye out for everything in Secret World. When the evil troll appeared, you did not open it and caused us to fall into a death trap. Elder, your heart is truly vicious. Didn't you say that the life of the examination disciples was the first? You clearly know that there was a huge change in the secret world, but you didn't let us out. Yi Seng's forehead sank as he immediately stared at the elder Changdao. At this moment, Yi Jingyan also said, In Punish Evil's secret territory, we were almost killed by the evil troll. If it wasn't for Long Fei killing the evil troll, we would all have died inside. That's right. It's just that I never thought that clan elders would actually know that we're trapped in a dangerous place in the secret world. Why didn't they open the secret world's door and let us out? Isn't that too cruel? Isn't this too vicious? Everyone began to criticize him. Yi Seng was furious and shouted loudly, What exactly happened? Speak. His voice was like thunder, causing the few Oracle S beside him to tremble in fear. The power that erupted from his body was too ferocious. Long Fei's mind trembled slightly as he thought to himself, So powerful! It was also at this time a disciple who was protecting the secret world suddenly knelt down and said, All of this is at the command of the elder Changdao. I am just following orders. Elder Changdao's eyes were filled with anger. He shouted, Bloody slander me! I have no idea. Long Fei said, You don't know? Didn't you just say that you saw it with your own eyes? Furthermore, Elder, do you not know? All of this is probably part of your plan, right? Do you know why Evil Troll would appear in Secret World? It's because of your demon's gathering pill. Yi Seng's eyes trembled as he looked at Long Fei and asked, Demon's gathering pill? What demon's gathering pill? The elder Changdao's expression sank and said in a heavy voice, Long Fei, be careful when you speak of it. I'm obviously giving you an exorcism pill. I don't even know what kind of demon's gathering pill you are talking about. Yo! Long Fei laughed and said, Elder Changdao, I never said that you gave me the demon's gathering pill. Why are you in such a hurry? If you say it like that, then you are giving me the exorcism pill to change into a demon's gathering pill. Elder Changdao, you are truly malicious. What exactly did I do to make you hate me so much? Didn't I just kill you once in the secret world and then block one of your moves? It's very normal for someone to be weaker than them. Is there a need to hold grudges like this? Long Fei laughed and said and thought, You want to play with me? I won't be able to play with you. Elder Changdao's face turned green for a while, then white. He said furiously, Long Fei, I don't even know what you're talking about. Long Fei said, Elder Changdao, if you don't know what I'm going to say, don't worry, just take out the things inside your space ring and have a look, won't you? Elder Changdao said, Impudent, who do you think you are, and what qualifications do you have to order me? Yi Seng's voice sank as he said faintly, Then, do I have the qualifications to order you around? Elder Changdao's body started to tremble, and he said, Elder, don't listen to his nonsense. I don't even know what demon's gathering pill they are. Since you don't know, then take out the space ring S. Long Fei exaggerated a little. You asked me to test your blood essence just now, so you can't check your space ring right now? Long Fei, don't push me too far. Elder Chang Dao gritted his teeth as he spoke. Long Fei's gaze darkened, and he laughed. From the very beginning, you want to force your father too much? Now that it's your turn, you think I'm going to push you too far? Sure, this daddy here is pushing it too far. If you have the guts, then take out all the items from the space ring. Long Fei said. Elder Chang Dao went berserk. He had many unspeakable secrets in the space ring and could absolutely not take them out. Otherwise, he would not be able to survive in the tower question of God. In fury, Elder Chang Dao's killing intent rose. At this moment, the magic baby in Long Fei's body moved slightly, and the aura of his power moved. Chapter 1384. He is my man. Chapter 1384. He is my man. The moment the magic baby felt the killing intent in the Elder Chang Dao's heart, it immediately became restless, like a shark sensing the smell of blood. At that moment, Elder Chang Dao turned his right hand, and a sword appeared. He shouted, "Brat, you force my hand." Shua! With a flash of his sword, he fanned out. He rushed towards Xiang Longfei along with his sword. Yiseng shouted loudly, "Stop right there." The long blade didn't care so much he had to kill Long Fei. Long Fei's eyes darkened. He was waiting for Yiseng to make his move. The cultivation of the Yiseng was much higher than him, so if he were to attack, the Elder Chang Dao would not be able to harm him at all. Yiseng made his move. With a move of his power, he crushed Elder Chang Dao's body. The speed of the Elder Chang Dao slowed down a little, but did not stop. He charged towards Xiang Longfei very forcefully, and the golden light around his body was unleashed to its peak. Yiseng's eyes darkened. Longfei, dodge! Yi Jingyun also cried out in alarm, saying, "Young Master Long, quickly dodge!" Nangong Yen also became slightly nervous. He could not let Long Fei die. Nothing would happen to Long Fei, because he was a thunderbolt that could change the structure of ancient holy battlefield. Long Fei's eyes darkened. His mouth curved into a cold smile, and he said, "You dare touch this daddy?" I said, "Don't provoke me. If you provoke me, your father, will make you die a graveless death." The power of the Elder Chang Dao far surpassed Long Fei's. Without using the energy of the golden cudgel, Long Fei was not his match at all. If it was yesterday when Long Fei was about to be crushed by the Elder Chang Dao, even if he had a protective ring, the resurrection ring would still be useless because these were still external forces. However, it was different now. The moment the Elder Chang Dao's killing intent rose, the magic baby in his body became angry, and with a move of the demon god of war's 9 tribulations soared the moment the Elder Chang Dao's attack landed. Crack! Rumble! The sky and the earth shook as tornadoes occurred. It was as if there was someone in the world undergoing heavenly tribulation. The first part of the 9 tribulations soared. Its power erupted as the sword descended. Buzz! In that moment, Elder Chang Dao fell to the ground with a thud. He was squashed to the ground instantly, his body turning into a pile of meat as blood splattered all over the ground. He didn't even have time to react. The surrounding people were the same. They were still worried for Long Fei. Before the battle had even begun, it had already ended. It was so fast that even Long Fei himself was a little stupefied, muttering to himself, "This is a little too damn fast. Don't you think it's necessary to be so fierce?" It was also at this time. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Elder Chang Dao for obtaining 10 million experience, 100,000 holy source points, and 10 energy values points. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 100,000 experience points. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level 1. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level 2. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level 3. Ding. The system had been going berserk this entire time, crackling and rattling. The magic baby continued to level up. Every time it upgraded his body, it would become bigger by 1 level. The system beep would chime a total of 20 times, and the magic baby would instantly soar to level 20. In the blink of an eye, he had risen to level 20. One word to describe it: ferocious. It changed from the appearance of a baby to that of a child, and the system beep rang. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for becoming a level 20 demon body, which can transform your body. Would you like to do so? No. Although Long Fei really wanted to see what the demon gods and demon god's body felt like, transforming into a body in such a situation wasn't that equivalent to courting death. The magic body's power was too strong. Moreover, the demon god's 9 tribulations sword possessed extreme power, and this was the strongest trump card after the golden cudgel. Long Fei became secretly excited. The demon god's rank and my own rank are not the same. They are completely independent. Furthermore, the stronger the magic body's power, the stronger the power in my body will be. It was not a magic baby bred by Long Fei. It had been nurtured by the power of a paragon's celestial tribulation. The stronger the magic body, the stronger the powers of the great perfection of the heavenly tribulation within Long Fei's body. At this moment, all the Oracle S were shocked. At this moment, boom, boom, boom. The sky continuously exploded as several figures descended, and among them was the fairy Wang Shishir. What just happened? What was that power just now? Yi-sung, what happened just now? The divine light on their bodies was much stronger than the golden light on the bodies of the Oracle S. Furthermore, Long Fei felt an extremely strong pressure. At the same time, Long Fei looked at the sky and thought, could it be that the tower question of God is really in the sky? Without waiting for Yi-sung to speak, an old man's eyes became angry, and he bellowed, "Who is bold enough to actually dare kill an elder of Oracle?" A few powerhouse S looked over, and their expressions changed. Killing an Oracle elder was too much of a crime. Moreover, Elder Chang Dao was also the disciple of an elder, so the matter was even more serious. Yi-sing looked at Long Fei. He did not expect Long Fei to instantly kill him in one move either, not even enough time to stop him. Yi-sung said, "Elder, this matter is a misunderstanding." "Yi-sung, don't talk so much nonsense with me. I'll ask you right now, who killed my disciple? Who is it?" The old man's rage raged. He released his aura one after another, crushing everything in his path. The Yi-sung continued, "Clan elder, please listen to me." Not waiting for him to finish, "Pa!" A slap landed on Yi-sung's face, knocking him onto the ground. His eyes became angry, and the thick golden light around his body started to crush down, as he shouted, "I said, don't talk nonsense with me." The death of a disciple was akin to being humiliated. He would not let this opportunity slip by him. Moreover, the Oracle represented the tower question of God. Anyone who dared to touch the Oracle meant looking down on them, and was even more intolerable. No matter what his disciple did, he had to kill them. Song Kwang's eyes flashed with excitement. "Brat, you're dead meat." Just when he was about to complain, Long Fei took a step forward and said without the slightest fear, "How did I kill him?" In that instant, the powerhouse stared at Long Fei and said, "Since you were the one who killed them, then you shall die." The moment he moved, a huge wave of energy swept through him. At this moment, Wang Shishir's figure also moved as he shouted, "Elder Luo!" It stood in front of Long Fei, blocking his way. Luo Tianfeng stared at Wang Shishir. "Elder Wang, you want to stop me?" "That's right," Wang Shishir said. "Because he is mine. Try touching him." Suddenly, Wang Shishir had gone from a gentle fairy to a tyrannical fairy. Chapter 1385, Pulling You into the Water. Chapter 1385, Pulling You into the Water. Try touching him. Very overbearing. Everyone was startled. They had never seen Wang Shishir's tyrannical side. Long Fei was also slightly dumbstruck. He was shocked by the aura on Wang Shishir's body and thought to himself, how tyrannical! Luo Tianfeng stared at Wang Shishir with sinister eyes and said, "Elder Wang, you better clear up your identity. If you dare stop me today, tomorrow I will kick you out of the tower question of God." Being stopped in front of so many people when a disciple was killed made Luo Tianfeng lose a lot of face. Wang Shishir said, "Elder Luo, it is not up to you to decide whether or not I roll out of the tower question of God. Moreover, I won't let you touch him today." Luo Tianfeng's face sank again and said, "Are you really going to go against me?" Wang Shishir said, "So what if I'm going against you?" "All right, I'll see what you can use to stop me." Luo Tianfeng bellowed, and the spirit qi on his body burst out. Suddenly, Luo Tianfeng's qi was released. It was extremely strong, just like a ferocious beast roaring and smashing down on them, extremely ferocious. The entire sky above the training grounds was trembling, as though the oppressive beast was about to rush out. Everyone's expression changed drastically. Too powerful. Long Fei's eyes turned sinister as he took a step forward. The idea had linked itself to the golden cudgel, and now that the energy had filled up to the 30th floor, it was his strongest trump card. Without waiting for Long Fei to come forward, Wang Shishir pulled him behind himself and said faintly, "Hide behind me and don't move about carelessly." And then the power on her body buzzed, and the translucent and sparkling light of the Meteon crystal scattered down, forming a star shield in front of her. Luo Tianfeng's eyes turned sinister as he exclaimed, "Star shield!" The surrounding elders also tensed up. "Authentic artifact, star shield. You actually summoned your own authentic artifact for the sake of an examination disciple." Luo Tianfeng was greatly shocked in his heart. Authentic artifact. It was a holy artifact that was linked to his own life. A holy artifact that was born from his own cultivation. He was strong. The holy artifact was strong. Holy artifact would suffer a strong impact. With his own cultivation, his own body would also suffer a strong impact. It could be said that the two were connected. Wang Shishir summoned his authentic artifact, Star Shield, immediately, which made him tense up. At this moment, his oppressive beast was instantly blocked by the Star Shield and shattered by the strong defensive power. Luo Tianfeng squinted and said, "It looks like you really have to go against me." Wang Shishir said, "I've said it before, he's one of my people. If you dare to touch him, I won't sit by and do nothing." The defense of the Star Shield was so strong that even Luo Tianfeng's authentic artifact could not break it. In terms of cultivation, they were equal, but in terms of nurturing authentic artifact, Luo Tianfeng was weaker than Wang Shishir. Luo Tianfeng became angry from the embarrassment, stared straight at Wang Shishir, and bellowed, "Wang Shishir, just you wait. From today onwards, I will not rest until I swear to you." Finished. Luo Tianfeng flung his sleeves and turned to leave. At this moment, Long Fei took a step forward and said, "Since you're here, you shouldn't be in such a hurry to leave." The entire audience was stunned. Luo Tianfeng was about to leave. What was Long Fei doing jumping out? Was he courting death? Wang Shishir's eyes darkened as he stared at Long Fei and said with a low voice, "It's fine, retreat to the side." He could not suppress the rage in his heart from the start, but now that he was stopped by Long Fei, he felt even more unhappy. He turned around and stared at Long Fei. "You dog, why are you stopping this old man?" If not for Wang Shishir being there, in his eyes, Long Fei would already be a corpse. Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "You are the master of the Elder Chang Dao." Luo Tianfeng stared at Long Fei and said, "So, what?" Long Fei replied, "Nothing. What can I do? You are a high and mighty elder. I am just an examination disciple." Luo Tianfeng said, "It's good that you know your own identity. If you kill him, this matter will definitely not end. There will be someone to protect you, but you will not be able to protect him for the rest of your life." Long Fei laughed and said, "I am very clear about my identity. Since you are the master of the Elder Chang Dao, then you should be very clear about everything about him." Luo Tianfeng looked at Long Fei and said, "Brat, what are you trying to say?" Long Fei said, "I want to say your disciple is an evil demon, or rather, was bribed by an evil demon. What about you?" "How dare you?" Luo Tianfeng suddenly shouted and said, "Brat, don't think that just because someone is protecting you, you will be safe. Don't provoke me. If not, even if Wang Shishir is protecting you, I can still kill you." The defense of the stellar shield was indeed terrifying. However, Luo Tianfeng could not kill Wang Shishir, but he could easily kill Long Fei. Wang Shishir also lowered his voice and said, "Long Fei, you can't joke about this matter. Insulting an elder was no ordinary crime." Long Fei walked over to Elder Chang Dao's corpse and took the space ring off his finger. Then he poured out the contents of the storage ring. "Exorcism pill. Only the disciples who take the examination have this pill." "Why does he have it?" Finished. Another few pills fell down. "Demons gathering pill. This pill is only for demonic cultivators." "Why would he have such a pill?" "This kind of pill is forbidden at the Tower Question of God, right?" Long Fei looked at Luo Tianfeng and said, "Elder Luo, the other demons gathering pill S alone are enough to make the long blade die 10 times, right? You did something to me earlier. Are you related to this as well? Why not take your space ring and check it? You want to leave after acting cool? Your grandmother." Wang Shishir protected him, but if this matter was reported to the higher-ups, she would definitely be implicated and punished. After all, he was the one who killed the person, and he was also an exam master. Thus, Long Fei had to excuse Wang Shishir. The surrounding few elders trembled, and one of the elders said, "It is indeed a demon's gathering pill. This is an evil magic pill medicine. This kind of pill is not allowed here." Luo Tianfeng's face became extremely ugly. The Yiseng said slightly, "I wanted to tell you about this just now." Luo Tianfeng's eyes turned sinister. The muscles at the corner of his eyes twitched, and his killing intent became stronger. He stared at Long Fei and asked, "Just what are these few pills for?" And Luo Tianfeng said gloomily, "You actually want to search my space ring. You are tired of living." Searching for the space ring was as easy as being humiliated. Moreover, the matter with the demons gathering pill made Luo Tianfeng very unhappy. If he continued to be led by Long Fei like this, it was very possible that he would be taken out of the water. The aura around his body was getting stronger and stronger, and his killing intent was getting stronger and stronger. At this moment, however, the magic baby in Long Fei's body became active. Chapter 1386, Destroy God Mine, Too Violent. Chapter 1386, Destroy God Mine. Too violent. Wang Shishir also became cautious as he whispered, "Be careful." Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "Relax with your protection. I will definitely be fine. Big sister fairy." Wang Shishir rolled his eyes at Long Fei. "Who's your sister?" Long Fei laughed mischievously and said, "Those few pills can't explain the problem, right? Fine. Then I'll let you see what is the most evil thing in the world? Instantly, Long Fei's blood essence stirred, and he thought to himself, Magic baby, give me a bit of evil demon blood essence. As soon as he finished, a few drops of blood essence fell out from the space ring. The blood essence was thick and black. The moment the space ring fell out, the heaven and earth suddenly lost its luster. There was no light on the ground, and gusts of cold wind started coming out from the ground. The air was filled with the roars of evil spirits. It was as if he was in a purgatory. Those elders were fine, but the surrounding oracle and disciples were all pale in fear, their mental states unstable, and they could be penetrated at any time by the demons. Wang Shishir's face darkened. This evil aura is actually this powerful. It's the first time in my life that I've encountered it. The few clan elders around Luo Tianfeng immediately pulled away. One of the clan elders asked, Clan Elder Luo, what exactly happened here? This evil demon's aura contains a tremendous amount of evil energy. Your disciple has already fallen into the evil demon's hands. You must explain this clearly. In that instant, Luo Tianfeng was in a passive state. He never thought that, moreover, he would never believe that even if his disciple fell into a demon's trap, it would be impossible for him to have such a powerful evil demon blood essence. However, the truth was right in front of him. Even if he didn't believe it, it was useless. Luo Tianfeng said, I have nothing to explain. Long Fei said, He is your disciple. You might not know about him falling into the evil spirit, but I'm afraid that you have a lot of these things within your space ring, right? An elder of the Tower Question of God actually colluded with the evil demon. I would like to ask, how should this crime be counted? The corner of Long Fei's mouth raised slightly, and he sneered in his heart, Fight with me? Even 10 Luo Tianfeng, S would not be my match. The few elders' eyes shook as they said, Elder Luo, please follow me back to the law enforcement hall. You must explain everything clearly. Luo Tianfeng stared at Long Fei and suddenly bellowed, Brat, this matter is not over, just you wait. The rage on his body was abruptly retracted. He thought that Luo Tianfeng would be furious and take action. That way, he would have the chance to kill him. But Luo Tianfeng did not fall for it. He was smarter than the elder Chang Dao. Then, the 3 elders stood guard by Luo Tianfeng's side, preventing him from escaping. Following that, 4 rays of light flashed and disappeared into the horizon. Wang Shishir looked at Long Fei and said, Good boy. Long Fei giggled and said, Isn't this with the support of Big Sister Fairy? Otherwise, how would I dare? Wang Shishir rolled his eyes at Long Fei and said, Don't be too complacent. Luo Tianfeng's power in the Tower Question of God is not small. He will definitely not let this matter rest. Others might not be clear about it, but Wang Shishir was clear about it. The Luo family's influence in the Tower Question of God could not be underestimated. Long Fei nodded. Don't worry, I will be careful. Wang Shishir rolled his eyes at Long Fei, then turned into a white shadow and disappeared. Long Fei looked in the direction they had disappeared in and thought to himself, the Tower Question of God is not in the sky. It's just in the void. It's so mysterious. The many elders left. The martial arts arena disciple heaved a sigh of relief. Yi Jingyun swiftly walked to Long Fei's side and said, Young Master Long, you're too awesome. Ha ha ha. Even the Tower Question of God's elder couldn't do anything to you. Ha ha ha. To think that killing one of the Oracle's elders would be okay, and even drag the other into the water, he had to admit that this battle was quite beautiful. Even if Luo Tianfeng wanted to deal with him, she wouldn't have the time for that. The law enforcement hall of the Tower Question of God would at least let him shed a layer of skin. Long Fei slightly smiled and said, Pediatric. Yi Jingyun looked at the space ring in Long Fei's hands and said, "Yong, Master Long, take a look and see what's inside." If Yi Jingyun did not say it, Long Fei would have forgotten. Just as Long Fei was about to take out all of the items from the space ring, a light flashed in his eyes. Her heart tightened, and her heart started beating faster. Immediately, Long Fei said, "Nothing good, just trash." However, his heart was beating extremely quickly. Long Fei tried his best to suppress the wild joy in his heart as he tried to remain calm. He thought to himself, "I've struck gold, I've struck gold." The Iseng said in a low voice, "Disband your group today. You can move about freely during tomorrow's holiday, but it's best if you don't leave this place. Today's results will be available in the morning the day after tomorrow." With that, the Iseng left with quick steps. Elder Chang Dao was killed. What happened in Secret World? Was the Elder Chang Dao really an evil monster? Tower Question of God attached great importance to these things. Just as Luo Tianfeng had said, this matter was not over yet. After the disbanding, Long Fei could not wait to return to his residence, closed the door, and said excitedly, "We're rich, we're rich. Ha! We really made a fortune. F***. I really didn't expect that the Elder Chang Dao's space ring would actually hide this thing. Too excited. Huff, huff, huff." Long Fei tried his best to remain calm, to calm himself down, and then carefully took out the space ring. After that, the idea moved and took out a piece of pitch black thing that was as big as a person. What is this? Most people did not even know about it. Even the elders of the Tower Question of God did not know. If Long Fei did not have the system, he would not know either. Even if it was in front of him, he would be too lazy to take a look. However, if he were to use the system to look at its attributes, it would be out of the ordinary, because he was a piece of, or that did not belong to this world. Why was Long Fei so excited? Simple. Because this was a piece of Destroy God mine. What was a fallen god? It was the fallen gods. These gods' essence energy had been fused with each other for tens of thousands of years, hundreds of millions of years, or even billions of years. Such a huge Destroy God mine stone would at least be condensed from the fall of thousands or tens of thousands of gods. Such a huge number of deities had fallen. Why is that? Long Fei was too lazy to care about it. He only had one thing on his mind right now, to use it to create a super divine weapon. Before that, Long Fei opened up the trading system, placing the Destroy God mine on it. The exchange system appeared to have short-circuited and was unable to react for a long time. In the end, a string of numbers appeared on it. 999 99999999999. I'll go. Too irritable. Chapter 1387, Fertility of Main Artifact. Chapter 1387, Fertility of Main Artifact. Long Fei's eyeballs were about to pop out of their sockets when he saw the numbers on the trading system. He counted and counted. It took a whole 10 times before Long Fei could count it clearly, to the point that his tongue was trembling. 10 trillion! This is a concept. Is this the tempo of buying the entire exchange hall? Oh my God! Long Fei knew that the Destroy God mine was a good thing, but he really did not expect it to be this good. It was too violent. Huff, huff, huff. My little heart. It's really going to explode. Long Fei was unable to calm his emotions. The Destroy God mine had excited him so much, even more so than when he had dropped the main artifact. Moreover, Long Fei had a feeling that if this Destroy God mine was successfully refined, it was very likely to become a main artifact. And then Long Fei opened up the system to check the Destroy God mine's attributes. Item: Destroy God mine grade. Attribute. Description: This ore is condensed from the profound chi of the fallen god. Description 2. It originated from the ancient holy battlefield, the god who fell in the last war between the gods. Description 3. The weapons forged by this pill can cause the power of divinity to fall. Description 4. To nurture him in front of the authentic artifact, there is a certain probability of becoming a main artifact. I knew it! I knew it! Long Fei looked at the description of the last item, and his blood started to boil. Who in this world has the ore to produce main artifact? How shocking! Long Fei's heart was unable to calm down. Looking at the description written on the system, this ore was condensed from the deity that perished in the great battle between the gods last time. That is to say, the current main temple are the current gods, the victors of the previous ancient holy battlefield. If that's the case, then what Hanba said is not wrong. Ancient holy battlefield can really change the rules and change everything. Destiny God, you mother fasters cur, just wash my ass and wait. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly. The scene of him being crushed by fate judgment was still fresh in his mind. If he did not take revenge, Long Fei would not feel at ease. He had to K him to death. So what if he was a god? Before the ancient war, they were still human beings. God was also defeated. Following that, Long Fei moved his idea, capable of killing Emosia. With the destroy God mine, Long Fei immediately wanted to forge a divine weapon. But at this moment, Nangong Yan's voice came from outside the courtyard. Long Fei, are you there? Long Fei immediately calmed down. The destroy God mine were like the system. No one could do it. Otherwise, it would cause chaos in the entire chaos realm. If those fellows from Main Temple knew about this, they would definitely chase after him with all their might. Long Fei opened the door and said, I was just resting. Nangong Yen said, about the matters with the punish evil secret territory. I'm sorry, I just wanted you to. Long Fei said, there's no use apologizing. Why not be practical? Nangong Yen was startled and said, practical? Long Fei walked to Nangong Yan's side and picked her up, then carried her directly into the room. He tyrannically threw her onto the bed and said, I don't care who you are. I don't care what your identity is. You only have one identity. My woman. One night, Nangong Yen leaned on Long Fei half-naked and said, Elder Chang Dao is not an evil demon apostle. How did you do it, that drop of blood essence, and the evil aura that entered your body? Where did it go? She had always been puzzled. After thinking for a long time, he still couldn't understand, so he came to ask Long Fei. Long Fei laughed faintly. This is a secret. The evil body was his other body. It was a brand new body, a secret that no one knew about. It couldn't be that Long Fei would tell her everything just because he killed her. Nangong Yen laughed bitterly and said, I knew you wouldn't say. She had already expected this outcome. And then she said, the second round of the examination is over, and the third round is alchemy. How are your preparations? Huh. Long Fei was startled and said, the tower question of God's examination is so varied, the alchemy is still within. Could it be that we have to rely on our own alchemy to enter the battlefield? Nangong Yen said, tower question of God requires a talent from all sides, and also these alchemy assessments will have additional uses. You must definitely grasp them. Take Song Kuang, for example. Don't just look like a playboy young master. His cultivation isn't anything good, but his alchemy is on the level of a great grandmaster. So if he can get a high score in terms of alchemy, then even if he doesn't pass the examination, he might still be able to become an alchemy master of a tower question of God. Just like him, he can cultivate in God power. Long Fei laughed. a great master of alchemy? He thought to himself, this old man has old Lord Taishang, the ancestor of the alchemy. I can use one hand to flatten any grandmaster, but old Lord Taishang only has 1 minute left. It was a headache. Loyalty Stone could only fuse something brand new. Once used, it could not fuse into a permanent quality. Old Lord Taishang's alchemy was very important to Long Fei. He would never use it unless it was absolutely necessary. Use it for the assessment? Too wasteful. Long Fei glanced at his own alchemy technique. It was only at the second level, and also at the primary level. If he wanted to achieve good results in the third round, then the alchemy technique must be raised. Right, Nangong, Yen said. I know that there are a few high-ranked spirit grass in this mountain. If we can obtain these high-ranked spirit grass, then the chances of us winning will be much greater. Tomorrow, let's rest. Why don't we go find these spirit grass? Long Fei was still thinking about making the Destroy God mine into divine weapons, and just as he was about to refuse, a system notification came out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for triggering the quest to search for the ultimate spirit grass. Mission: search for the ultimate spirit grass level. Time: 3 days reward. 2 million experience points, 20,000 holy source, 10,000 points, a special item. Tip: you can get a big lottery draw if you get an S-class score. He actually triggered the quest. Long Fei muttered in his heart. He hadn't completed a mission for a long time. Long Fei looked at the tender Nangong Yen as he said this. Do you want me to help you find a top-notch spirit grass? Nangong Yen said, if we have the ultimate spirit grass, we will have an even higher chance of victory. Long Fei said, that depends on your performance. Nangong Yen's face immediately blushed red, and then disappeared for a lifetime. In another place, boom, a loud explosion resounded. Xian Yuanli Air cupped his fists and said, thank you for your guidance, Elder. Ha ha ha. An elder sat cross-legged and smiled happily. Not bad, not bad. It only took you 3 days to defeat me, as expected of a member of the Xianyuan clan. Let's go up. Your senior brother, Zhan Wushuang, is waiting for you at the top. On the 100th floor of the Tower Question of Goddess, Xianyuan Li Air broke through yet again. Every time he took a step forward, Xianyuan Li Air would think of Long Fei. I will definitely succeed. Big brother Long Fei, I will definitely avenge you. Of course. Chapter 1388, Landflower. Chapter 1388, Landflower. The next day, early in the morning, Nangong Yen arrived at Long Fei's courtyard wearing a set of tight clothes. She left late last night. Long Fei looked at the incomparably hot Nangong Yen, thinking that she had become more attractive and even prettier than before. She said slightly, women really need nourishment. He filled a basin with cold water and poured it on himself. After changing into a clean set of clothes, he said, let's go. Young Master Long, bring me along. Yi Jingyun stood at the courtyard entrance. Long Fei asked, where are you going? Yi Jingyun said, young Master Long, I will go wherever you go. Right now, he admired Long Fei from the bottom of his heart. Respect and admiration were like the unending river waters. Long Fei took a glance at Nangong Yen and thought to himself, I was still thinking of coming out for a few wild battles. Looks like Nangong Yen said, one more person and one more helper, let's go together. Long Fei said, then let's go together. Yi Jingyun immediately laughed and said, many thanks, young Master Long. Right. On the way here just now, many groups of people went down the mountain. The third test is on alchemy. They should have gone down the mountain to look for spirit grass. Are we also going to look for spirit grass? Long Fei said, how do you all know what the third stage's exam is? How come I don't know anything? Yi Jingyun said, Young Master Long, I also heard some news from those oracles. I also heard that yesterday's incident was a bit serious after Elder Yi Sung left yesterday. He hasn't returned yet. I'm afraid something bad is about to happen. Huh. Long Fei glanced at the sky and couldn't help but feel a little worried in his heart. Big Sister Fairy, are you all right? What happened to the Tower Question of God? Long Fei didn't know. However, he was now certain that the Tower Question of God was just like an ordinary sect, full of schemes and scheming. Right now, even if something happened to the Tower Question of God, Long Fei had no choice. He didn't even know where the entrance to the Tower Question of God was. Long Fei muttered and said, Let's go. The three of them went down the mountain, with Nangong Yen leading the way, with Long Fei and Yi Jingyun following behind. Young Master Kuang, they are coming down the mountain. Song Kuang's gaze turned sinister as he said coldly, All right, how's it going? That disciple said, The news has already spread. Last night, Hellgate's powerhouse should have arrived. This is a great opportunity for Hellgate. Song Kuang laughed coldly and said, Nobody would dare to touch you in the Tower Question of God assessment grounds. But after leaving this place, Long Fei, you are just a dead dog. I don't believe that you won't die this time. Ha ha ha. Song Kuang laughed out loud. The pain in his fingers made him suck in a few breaths of cold air. Long Fei, just you wait. This was also Song Kuang's first time here. How did he know that there were land flower at the profound peak cliff? Because he was also told to go for a walk. For hours later. Huff. Nangong Yen exhaled a breath of air, looked at a dark, cold, and dangerous peak, and said, There's a land flower on this profound peak cliff. Then let's go up. Yi Jingyun immediately said. Long Fei pulled him back in one go and said, With such an easy-to-pluck spirit grass, it's no longer an ultimate spirit grass. These kinds of spirit grass are all nurtured in the world, and with the ferocious beasts protecting them, it's still extremely difficult to harvest them. Nangong Yen said, You are right, this kind of land flower has absorbed the essence of the earth for 10 years. It will take root for 10 years, sprout for 10 years, scatter for 10 years, blossom for 10 years, and mature for 10 years. It will take 50 years to harvest. Moreover, it's not easy for this land flower to guess the peak of profound mountain cliff. Yi Jingyun secretly clicked his tongue and said, A spirit grass formed in 50 years. This is the first time I've heard of it. However, since he's on the peak, I'll just fly up. As soon as he finished, Yi Jingyun took a step forward as his entire body fell to the ground. His entire body was covered in a layer of frost, and he was trembling from head to toe, his face pale. Long Fei said, This is called earth protection. No matter where you are, the strongest power is not the human being, but the power of nature. Long Fei looked at the dusky patch of land above his head. It looked like it was nothing, but there was an Earth Guardian's power on top of it, forming a powerful obstruction. It was impossible to fly up, even with Fire Unicorn. Yi Jingyun said, Then what do we do? Long Fei said, Climb up. Nangong Yen said, That's right. Only by climbing the mountain peak will we have a chance to pick land flower. At this moment, a cry came from the thick clouds, and the lightning and thunder from the clouds continued to wreak havoc. Nangong Yen trembled slightly and said, The land flower is about to mature. Let's hurry up. It only has a minute of time to mature. If we miss it, then it's useless. And then Nangong Yen quickly teleported out. Long Fei looked at the thick layer of clouds, where lightning was raging, and muttered, Are demon beasts still hiding within these clouds? My devil body needs to level up as well. Along the way, he did not encounter any demon beast, which made Long Fei very unhappy. The demonic figure was only at level 20 and was still at the child stage. This level was too low, and the demonic god was only a child. This way of appearing on the scene would make them feel uncomfortable, not oppressed at all. He had to grow up. The land flower is about to mature. Everyone, hurry up. Not only Long Fei and the others knew that the land flowers were about to mature, many people in the forest also knew. They were all rushing towards the profound peak cliff where the land flowers were. In the dark corner of mysterious peak cliff. Will he really come? This place is extremely cold. If he doesn't come, then it would be too much of a disaster. The news can't be wrong. Moreover, this is a desperate ambush point, as long as we can knock him down the cliff. Elder, what exactly is at the bottom of this cliff? I don't know what it is, but I know that when I fall, I instantly turn into ice, and the moment I land, my body will shatter into pieces. Even the great firmament deity wouldn't be able to save me. Mysterious peak cliff. It rose into the clouds. The snow covered for 10,000 years, never melting. At the bottom of its peak, there was an extremely cold place. Even the superpower house would not dare to approach this place because its temperature could freeze the blood essence in their veins. Here, it was called the Zone of Death. It was also known as Absolute Zero. The news about the land flower was spread by Song Kuang, but she did not investigate it thoroughly. She also did not expect that all of this was a trap meant for Long Fei. As long as he could kill Long Fei, Song Kuang would not hesitate. It's so cold. This is too cold. I feel like my blood vessels are about to freeze. Yi Jingyan rubbed his hands together. Ice crystals were hanging from his nose, and his brows were also covered in ice. Not just cold. Most importantly, Long Fei felt that his cultivation was going to be frozen. It was very strange. Even with their cultivations, they would not be so cold. Long Fei looked at the dusky mountain peak, as he thought to himself, there must be something strange up there. Chapter 1389, Ice Thunderbird. Chapter 1389, Ice Thunderbird, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Asterisk, the cold wind was like a blade, blowing in all directions. Every step forward was extremely difficult, and his entire body was frozen stiff. His body was unable to withstand it. This won't do. Nangong Yen glanced at Long Fei and said, "We are simply too slow. If we continue to be this slow, we will all die here." Yi Jingyun started to retreat and said, "Yong, Master Long, I think we should forget about it. We can't go any further. It's too cold." His body trembled nonstop. His superior cultivation base was completely useless here. Long Fei was also aware of this, but since the both of you are here and also on a mission, it must be completed. Both of you leave. I'm going to pick the land flower. Nangong Yen said, "It's too dangerous. I don't know how long it will take to reach the top, but I don't know what will happen on top of the mountain. Let's go." She didn't want to go up anymore. Not only her, even the people who came for the land flower all retreated. This profound peak cliff was simply not a place for humans to stay. It was too dangerous. Yi Jingyun said, "Young Master Long, let's go down first. People will really die." Long Fei did not want to give up, and there must be something strange about it. Maybe there was some kind of rare spirit treasure. With Long Fei's personality, he definitely could not miss it. "You guys can leave. I'll be fine. Hurry up, don't waste time." Long Fei saw that Yi Jingyun was almost at his limit, and his lips were split open. If he did not continue, he was really going to die here. Yi Jingyun did not try to dissuade him anymore. He really could not take it anymore and said, "Young Master Long, be careful." Nangong Yen reminded him, "Be careful." The two of them quickly walked down the mountain. Huff! Long Fei let out a deep breath, his heart sank, and shouted loudly, "Demon fruit! Magma! Open!" Boom! Burning with the holy source, Long Fei forcefully activated the magmatic fruit's power. There was no lava on his body, only a ball of white gas. The temperature here is too low. Even the demon fruit has been frozen. This is just too low of a temperature. Long Fei muttered. He turned and moved. Charge! Although the magmatic fruit could not fully unleash its power, Long Fei could still maintain the temperature of his body, so he did not feel as cold as before. However, Long Fei had to quickly go get the land flower. Otherwise, the temperature of the magmatic fruit would not be able to keep up. He used all his strength to rush to the top of the mountain. Amidst the thick snow, a pair of eyes was faintly discernible as it said, "It's finally here." Huff, huff. The air here seemed to have frozen over. Long Fei looked at the land flower that was in full bloom at the edge of the cliff, but it had not fully matured yet. The flower petals continued to bloom, and it still needed a little more time before it would mature. It was incomparably white. Furthermore, a thin stream the color of Xuanabai lingered around him. It was obvious that it was not ordinary. Long Fei did not immediately go to pick them, but carefully approached them. The closer he got to the land flower, the colder it became. F*CK. I can't care so much anymore. If this goes on, I'm really going to freeze to death. Right now, Long Fei felt that if he urinated, his urine would instantly freeze on his little brother. Not to mention peeing. Shitting would cause the chrysanthemums to freeze to the point that they wouldn't even be able to get their SHXD out. At this moment, he only needed one word. Fast. Long Fei did not care about the dangers around the land flower, and rushed forward to grab it. At this moment, suddenly, a group of people rushed out from the thick snow ground around them. Long Fei was extremely familiar with their clothes. It was Hell Gate's clothes. Long Fei, die! Ha ha ha! Although their cultivation was restricted, they did not completely freeze or lose it. This was because they all had God's Mountain Gate's unique, protective, profound spirit chi. This was also the reason why they were able to stay hidden here for such a long period of time. Long Fei's expression tightened, and said solemnly, "It's all your lingering ghost of a Hell Gate again. The lesson you've received shouldn't be enough, right? Come on!" Long Fei roared fiercely. His heart was filled with anxiety, because right now, even his holy source value had been frozen, unable to release any of his techniques. He was extremely anxious. I'm done for. Just as they made their move, the land flower had matured. A delicate fragrance wafted in the air. The surrounding aura suddenly moved, and from that thick thundercloud came a cry, "Gua!" In that instant, an ice bird, which had always been large, flew out from the clouds. Without giving Long Fei time to react, it flapped its wings at Long Fei. A long series of lightning bolts was released. The thunder element was extremely dense. Moreover, there was also the incomparably cold ice elemental essence, and the two elemental energies merged into one. It's the Ice Thunderbird. Landflower S. Ha ha ha. Long Fei, this time, even if you don't die, you will still die. Kill. The old man from the Hell Gate became excited. They did not need the landflower. They wanted Long Fei's life. This was Zhan Wushuang's order. Zhan Wushuang, who was creating a barrier in the tower question of God, did not seem to be related to the outside world, but he had a lot of things under his control. Long Fei was still alive. This made him extremely unhappy. Moreover, this news must not be made known to Xianyuan Lier, otherwise she would give up and run out to find Long Fei. Long Fei looked at the gigantic ice thunderbird and was immediately startled. Damn, ice birds! Its appearance was basically the same, except that this reminder was thousands of times bigger than in the game. The attack he had released was also accompanied by the power of the destructive thunder and lightning, as well as the frozen ice elemental energy. At this time, Long Fei had no way of dodging it at all. The road ahead was blocked by the Hell Gate. The sky was sealed by the Ice Thunderbird, and their attacks immediately fell. At this moment, Long Fei didn't have any time to think. He grabbed the land flower and jumped off the cliff. Shwa. Huh. Jump off the cliff? Ha ha ha. Then he's dead for sure. The Hell Gate elder laughed proudly. It was also at this moment the Ice Thunderbird's attack fell. Rumble! Rumble! Those Hell Gate disciples were also smashed flying in a split second. Just now, laughing at Long Fei for falling off the cliff meant his death. Now he also fell off the cliff. The Ice Thunderbird's eyes moved and let out a cry. Its body swooped down, and it continuously spat out sharp ice pillars. Fire Unicorn! Long Fei roared. The Fire Unicorn braced herself and rushed out, but the moment he appeared in midair, all the flames on his body went out, and his body frantically fell down. The Yuanyang big beast immediately reminded, "Boss, you're about to enter the death zone." Table of contents. Table of contents. In the dead zone, absolute zero, a temperature that even the gods found difficult to resist. In that moment, Long Fei quickly recalled the Fire Unicorn back to the warp head space, and his heart sank. Damn, a zone of death. Then lousy will see how you die. Long Fei's body fell freely and quickly. The temperature also continued to drop. His entire body was covered in a thin layer of ice, and the blood flow in his veins was slowing down. This feeling was very uncomfortable. The huge Ice Thunderbird was still in hot pursuit behind him and had no intention of letting Long Fei go. He had protected this land flower for 50 years, so he definitely would not allow anyone to steal it. Boom! Boom! From his mouth, sharp ice pillars continuously shot towards Xiang Long Fei. Long Fei's body in the air became a target. Adding that the holy source was frozen, he could not release any of his cultivation technique's power right now. Bam! Uffed! Long Fei's back hurt, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. The blood he spat out quickly froze into a clot and fell to the ground. The temperature was too low. F***CK. Long Fei was infuriated in his heart, and he scolded out loud. Then, with a jolt in his heart, he shouted, "Enchantment!" Boom! Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for becoming bedeviled. You have consumed 100,000 points. In that instant, Long Fei's body instantly transformed into the child version of the devil god. Pointing his finger at the Ice Thunderbird, he asked in a deep voice, "You're the one who should be arrogant, aren't you?" Shwa! With a move of his body, he instantly appeared in front of the Ice Thunderbird. His demon god of war's 9 tribulations sword finger touched the center of its eyebrows. Try spraying a F***king ice pillar on this daddy again. Suddenly, something happened. The Ice Thunderbird was caught off guard, but he was not afraid. The moment the 9 tribulations sword point touched his forehead, it let out an angry cry. Crack, crack, crack. A series of lightning bolts came crashing down. Crap! I forgot that he's a dual attribute Thunder Ice. Long Fei's heart trembled slightly. He was too close, and simply did not have time to react, as he was directly struck by the Ice Thunderbird's lightning. The lightning field erupted, and an extremely strong power of the lightning element wildly raged. Long Fei was almost electrocuted. However, Magic Body S were just Magic Body S. No matter how strong the lightning power of the Ice Thunderbird S were, their body would only receive a little bit of superficial injury. His clothes were charred, and his face was jet black. He looked to be in a rather sorry state. As the saying goes, good. Head can be broken, hair cannot be messed up. Screw your sister. Your father is angry. Long Fei was slightly angered and immediately put away the 9 Tribulations sword. He leapt onto the head of the ice thunderbird and stood on top of it. You ruined my hair. You're asking for death. Boom, 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 boom. Punches and punches crashed down heavily, as if tearing through the air. From beneath the clouds, it looked like golden light had been bombarding the heavens. He had no idea what was going on. The ice crystal above the ice thunderbird was smashed into pieces, and it let out a painful wail, but it still did not give up. With a flap of its wings, it directly covered its entire body and also wrapped Long Fei up. In the dead zone, absolute zero, bringing Long Fei there meant his death. Whoosh! The abyss was like the mouth of a wild beast, swallowing everything. Boom! Young Master Long. Long Fei, Yi Jingyun, and Nan Gong Yen, who had escaped down the mountain, exclaimed at the same time. Both of their eyes were in a daze, their voices trembling. This kid is dead for sure. One of them revealed a sneer of disdain. Yi Jingyun immediately bellowed and said angrily, "You're the one that F*** king dies." Humph! Yi Jingyun, is Long Fei your father? The disciple rebuked angrily. Without a word, Yi Jingyun immediately rushed forward. He is your ancestor. They quickly began to fight. Many people started ridiculing. That abyss is called the abyss of death. Now Long Fei is dead for sure. Ha ha! Against the young Master Kuang, he is not a match at all. As expected of the young Master Kuang, just by strolling around for a bit, he was able to obediently send himself to his death. Ha ha! Nan Gong Yan's eyes shook, and he leaned his body forward. He directly landed beside the person and asked with a cold voice, "Are you saying that the news about the land flower was spread by Song Kuang? He knew everything about the profound peak cliff since the beginning?" That person was somewhat scared by Nan Gong Yan's stare. His body slightly shivered, and he said, I also heard about it." Damn it! Nan Gong Yan's heart ached. I should have confirmed the source of the news. Immediately, Nan Gong Yan clenched his fists tightly. "Song Kuang, if anything happens to Long Fei, I will definitely not let you off." Yi Jingyun kicked that disciple who fell to the ground and said, "What are you waiting for? Just go back and kill him." Yi Jingyun was also an irritable person. He never thought that all of this was Song Kuang's conspiracy. He was extremely unhappy and turned and rushed towards the tower question of God's assessment grounds. As for Long Fei, the people who fell into the abyss of death had yet to come out alive. "Song Kuang, I'll fuck your ancestors." Yi Jingyun quickly ran out. Nan Gong Yan glanced at the profound peak cliff, then turned and followed Yi Jingyun back. This matter cannot be let go like this. And then there was Long Fei. He was tightly wrapped by the ice thunderbird, and his entire body was completely ice cold. Even the magic body could not take it any longer, and it became colder and colder. The ice thunderbird's voice sounded in Long Fei's mind. "Hand the land flower over, and I'll spare your life." "In your dreams." The demon god's voice shouted, "Your strength is not bad, and you also have the dual element of ice and lightning. As my mount, I can spare your life." The ice thunderbird was enraged and said, "Seems like you don't know the dangers of this land of death. Let me tell you, if any human falls here, they will die, and their bodies will be smashed into smithereens." The demon god sneered, "It looks like you still don't know how powerful I am. Let me tell you, you still have a choice. Otherwise, you'll die here today." Compete in arrogance? The demonic god was more arrogant than anyone else. Moreover, right now, although the demon god was wrapped within the Ice Thunderbird's body, he didn't resist. He wanted to see what's so strange about this abyss of death. Absolute zero. This was the lowest temperature on Earth, the hardest temperature to find in the universe, the fatal temperature. If he were to take control of this place, in the words of you humans, you won't shed a tear until you see the coffin. Since that's the case, I'll let you experience the power of the abyss of death. The Ice Thunderbird increased its speed and quickly dove down. Long Fei grinned. I won't shed a tear even if I see the coffin. Come at me as much as you want. Ha ha! Chapter 1391, Nine Dragon Coffin. Chapter 1391, Nine Dragon Coffin, Buzz. He sank into the darkness. Encountering these black ripples, it was as if he had fallen into a black hole in the universe. Long Fei's devil aura was frantically being released. Cold. Extreme. In that moment, the Ice Thunderbird landed on the ground, spread out its wings, and transformed back into its original form. With a heavy shake, it shouted, "Prepare to die." Long Fei swung down, heavily landing on the ground. A layer of flowing mist flowed on the ground. An indescribable coldness. If it was any ordinary human, even the powerhouse on the Heavenly Emperor board would probably instantly turn into an ice sculpture the moment they landed, and their bodies would be smashed into smithereens with a light bang. But Long Fei was a magic body. His body was an existence that was incomparably strong. Furthermore, it was the body refined by heavenly tribulation, so the strength of this body could be seen from this. The Ice Thunderbird was startled, seeing that nothing had happened to Long Fei. He felt a little strange. At this moment, bam, 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 the disciples of the Hell Gate, who were falling down, smashed down one by one. Their bodies turned into ice sculptures in the air, and the moment they landed, they were smashed into smithereens. This was the rhythm that Long Fei should have. But Long Fei was completely fine. He could walk around freely. Long Fei touched the ground with his hand. Layer of ice. Strange. It's under the layer of ice. Who is it? Long Fei's brows twitched. He took out the Nine Tribulations sword and stabbed it into the ground. The Ice Thunderbird was frightened to death. It cried out, "What are you trying to do?" He was very clear that this was an ice layer. He was even more clear that the temperature below the ice layer was even colder. It was a temperature that even he could not withstand. Long Fei grinned, scared. The Ice Thunderbird said, "You better not move, otherwise you will die here." His body slowly retreated, and he felt that the current Long Fei was extremely dangerous. Long Fei said, "If I die here, I will also invite you to be my companion." Then the demon god's power moved and poured into the Nine Tribulations sword. With a sinking force, the tip of the sword suddenly exploded, and the entire surface of the ice started to crack crazily. Kacha, kacha, kacha. The cracks continued to extend. The cracking sound reached deep into the darkness. The Ice Thunderbird's eyes went blank. "Madman, madman, you are a madman. I don't want the land flower. Stay here and wait for your death." As they spoke, the Ice Thunderbird spread out its wings and was about to fly up. How could Long Fei let him leave at this time? Furthermore, this divine bird of the twin ice and lightning is a rare divine beast. How could he let it go so easily? The instant the Ice Thunderbird flew up to him, Long Fei grabbed its claws and pulled fiercely. "Just get down." With a sinking of his strength, the force of 1,000,000 Jin exploded forth. The Ice Thunderbird was brought down by Long Fei. The Ice Thunderbird frantically struggled, its wings flapping as it shouted, "Let go of me! Quickly let go!" Long Fei said, "Follow me down." The Ice Thunderbird said, That is hell. How can it be hell? I don't want to go to hell with you. And at this moment, Long Fei channeled yet another strand of energy into the 9 tribulation sword as he shouted, "Open for me! The infernal realm. It's not like I've never been there before." Rumble. The surface of the ice split open, and a huge hole appeared. At this time, the true gigantic darkness beast opened its mouth and swallowed Long Fei whole. However, Long Fei was even tightly grabbing onto an ice thunderbird. The ice thunderbird cried, "Brother, I'm begging you, please let me go. I won't dare to do it again. I don't want to die." Boom, boom, boom. In that instant, Long Fei and the ice thunderbird were engulfed by the darkness. In that instant, Long Fei felt as if he had entered a strange world. The starry sky, the boundless starry sky. It was not that cold, but Long Fei felt that he was incomparably tiny within that endless chest. "Where is this?" Long Fei muttered as he looked up. He realized that the exit had been sealed and he was swimming in space. The ice thunderbird was also stunned. "Where is this?" Long Fei said, "You are not an ice thunderbird. Aren't you very familiar with everything here? You don't know where this is?" The ice thunderbird said irritably, "I've never been here before. How would I know where this is? I told you not to come in, not to come in. Why did you drag me in?" Long Fei said, "It's very simple, because I want you to be my mount." The ice thunderbird stared at Long Fei and said, "You want me to be your mount? Did you get water in your brain? Do you know who I am? I am the Chaos Realm's unique divine bird of ice and thunder. I am incomparably huge. At this moment, the ice thunderbird had not finished. A ferocious beast immediately pounced out from the darkness, pressing the ice thunderbird to the ground, its 2 claws fiercely slamming into the ground. Rumble. A wound instantly appeared on the ice thunderbird's chest, blood gushing out crazily. This dark beast looked like a leopard, and it was shining with a black light. However, its aura was very strong, comparable to those divine powers. The ice thunderbird fell to the ground in a single round. Long Fei stood at the side and laughed. "Seems like you aren't much either." The ice thunderbird was careless and was tightly pressed to the ground. The black, dark magician leopard furiously struck down and could no longer endure it as it cried for help. "Brother, brother, why aren't you helping me now? Aren't you incomparably noble? Aren't you unparalleled in the world, with both the ice and thunder elements? What do you need my help for?" Long Fei crossed his arms, stood at the side, and teased. The ice thunderbird said, "Can you not make sarcastic remarks? If it wasn't for you, how could I have come to this place?" Long Fei shrugged and said, "I like to talk sarcastically. What about it?" To dare to speak to Long Fei in such a manner at this time, was he looking for trouble? Ice thunderbird, "Brother, I was wrong, right?" Long Fei said, "Is it enough if it's wrong? To be my mount, to be able to be my mount is the fortune that you have accumulated for the past 8 lifetimes. This is your last chance. A devil god mount, the position of supreme expert. Not everyone could do that." The ice thunderbird had no choice but to be pressured by the black dark magician leopard to the point that it couldn't breathe. If they did not agree, then they really would lose half their lives. Smart choice. Long Fei grinned, then his gaze darkened. He stared at the black dark magician leopard and said, "Ha! Is that enough?" The 2 glowing green eyes of the black dark magician leopard suddenly stared at Long Fei. Long Fei's eyes released a ray of red light, and the powerful aura of the demon god was released from his body. Their eyes met. The black dark magician leopard was so scared that it immediately fled, not daring to linger for even a second longer. The ice thunderbird crawled back up and cursed, "Don't run if you have balls." It was also at this time Long Fei looked in the direction of the black, dark magician panther. Suddenly, his scalp went numb, and an incomparably terrified image appeared in the distance. Nine Dragon Coffin. Chapter 1392, Beheading the Azure Dragon Great Ancestor. Chapter 1392, Beheading the Azure Dragon Great Ancestor 9 Dragon Coffin. The 9 green dragons that looked like they were cast out of copper were covered in chains that never changed. At the end of the chains, there was a huge bronze coffin floating in the air. Fierce, terrifying. That kind of visual impact was something that Long Fei had never felt before. Too fierce. The magic body could not even bear it. The scene here made Long Fei think of a novel from Earth, Heaven Shrouding. This was the scene described in the book. 9 Dragon Coffin. It was abnormally intrepid, and the visual impact could crush a person's heart. The Ice Thunderbird trembled in fear and immediately said, "Let's leave this place quickly. This place is even more terrifying than hell." The Dragon Clan was originally a large clan of the divinity. They escaped from the divinity after suffering such a huge change. The green dragon that was cast out of bronze was incomparably sinister, and at the same time, they looked like slaves. Long Fei carefully analyzed in his heart, how noble is the dragon race? Even if they were to die, they would not lower their heads, and they would not become slaves either. But everything in front of us. Long Fei stared at the huge bronze coffin. Who is lying inside? Humph! Let's go up and take a look. Long Fei forced himself to calm down and took a step forward. The Ice Thunderbird immediately said, "If you want to die, die. I don't want to die by going up there." 9 Dragon Coffin. This kind of scene only has one possibility. The one in the coffin must be a god. It might even be a sovereign. A light flashed in Long Fei's eyes, and he said, "God, sovereign? Then we can't afford to miss it." His way of thinking was completely different from ordinary people. "Are you crazy?" The Ice Thunderbird looked at Long Fei in astonishment and said, "Let alone a sovereign, even if it was an ordinary god, we wouldn't be able to withstand it. Do you think a dead god isn't terrifying? One of his idea could rob you of your life. You can't take it at all. This place is too dangerous. Let's hurry and leave." The Ice Thunderbird could not wait to leave. Deities were sacred beings that could not be desecrated. They were similarly terrifying existences. In a space-secret world like this, there was only one possible reason. The person in the coffin was extremely powerful. The gods of the primordial era. Its coffin cannot be touched. The more he said it, the more he wanted to know who was lying inside. And then, Long Fei said, "If you're afraid, then you can stay here by yourself. I'll go take a look." Long Fei then took a step forward and walked up. The Ice Thunderbird muttered, "Even if you want to die, I won't stop you. I'll go find the exit myself." However, the moment Long Fei walked far away, a pair of ghastly green eyes opened in the air. It was the black dark magician panthers, just now again. "Didn't you say that you wouldn't come? If I don't come, then who will collect your corpse if you die?" Long Fei laughed and did not say much. Each of the 9 azure dragons had enormous bodies that stretched outwards for 10,000 kilometers. They were incomparably terrifying. Green dragon ancestor Long Fei had seen it before. However, compared to these green dragons, the people of the green dragon ancestor were like caterpillars. This could be the green dragon ancestor's great ancestor, and it was even a 9-headed great ancestor. These green dragons looked like they were cast from copper water, but Long Fei felt that they were real dragons. Half an hour later, Long Fei walked in front of a green dragon, raised his head and looked, and muttered in his heart, "It's so F*** king huge." Boom! With a huge explosion, An idea descended like a bolt of lightning. Who dares to trespass into the ancient god's coffin? Next, boom, 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 the sound of air exploding sounded out, and the green dragon seemed to come to life as both of its eyes stared straight at Long Fei, the powerful aura of a dragon exploding downwards. Rumble! Bang! He heavily smashed into Long Fei's sea of consciousness. Long Fei's body trembled slightly, and the anger in his heart burst out. Suppression? Damn you! Boom! Long Fei took a step forward, and the demon god's power erupted. The 9 tribulations sword in his hand moved, and slashed fiercely. Crack! Wallala! A huge green dragon head was chopped down. Long Fei fiercely kicked out. So, I hate people who use pressure the most. Is the Azure Dragon great ancestor that amazing? The demon god's fury was incomparably violent, even though he was under Long Fei's control. But the demonic god's nature was incomparably wild, no matter who he faced. Even when facing against sovereigns or creator, he wouldn't lower his head in the slightest, much less submit. Arrogant? He will be even more arrogant than you. One sword cut down Qinglong's head. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining a layer of power. Huh. Long Fei's heart trembled. The demon god's 9 tribulations sword also needs energy. 9 tribulations sword. What kind of power do I need to fill it up? The description of the devil god's 9 tribulations sword was not much. It only said that it could release the god's suffering force. But until now, Long Fei had not felt the so-called god's suffering force. Now that the system suddenly sounded out, Long Fei did not understand either. But now was not the time to think about it. Immediately, the 9 dragon coffin seemed to have lost its balance as it shook violently. The ice thunderbird was so scared that she almost peed her pants. She stared at Long Fei and said, You, me, you. He couldn't say it all day. The 9 tribulations sword in Long Fei's hand suddenly pointed towards the other green dragon as he shouted, Why are you acting so arrogantly for this old man here? How dare you? The 8 dragons were infuriated. The pressure from the Azure Dragon's great ancestor crushed down one after another, as if layers of heavenly power were crushing down. Boom, boom, boom. It was as if the world was being destroyed, and the entire starry sky was shaking. However, with every wave of pressure, Long Fei would raise his sword and slash down. He asked solemnly, Is the Azure Dragon great ancestor powerful? Swish! If you provoke this demon god, your 18 generations of ancestors will kill you all. A sword fell down. One by one, the Azure Dragon great leaders fell down. The sound of system beep s rang out one after another. 9 tribulation swords' energy filled to the 9th layer. Long Fei's gaze swept across them and looked at the 9 dragon coffin, sneering, Is it fun to have your head fall off? The ice thunderbird's eyes went blank. Crazy, crazy. He's completely crazy. If it was Long Fei, he might not be able to do this, but he was a magic body now, and demonic god blood flowed deep in his bones. He did not care about anything in the world. So what if it was 9 heads of the Azure Dragon clan? He would step on it. Of course. This was also because the 9 heads of the Azure Dragon great ancestor was only a physical body, and they had already died countless years ago, leaving behind only the tiniest bit of idea. If they were still alive, did he want to kill them? It was impossible. Long Fei stood on top of a dragon and looked at the huge bronze coffin in the distance, saying slightly, It's your turn. Chapter 1393, Sleeping Beauty. Chapter 1393, Sleeping Beauty. The 9 heads were cut off. His body was still floating in the air, unmoving as he pulled on the bronze coffin. It was as if he would not dare to move even after death. From the voice of the idea of the azure dragon great ancestor, Long Fei looked at the coffin in the distance. Ancient god. What kind of god is this? Never heard of it. Ice Thunderbird said, Ancient god. Ancient god. Is it very strong? Long Fei had never heard of it before, but there were quite a few online novels on Earth that had people with similar names. What Arceus world? The Ice Thunderbird really wanted to ruthlessly beat Long Fei up a few times and said, Ancient God was once the #1 god in the entire universe. And also, he was the one who founded the ancient era, but it's been gone for a long time now. Rumor has it, in the ancient realm, all of them are divine-level powerhouses. Their powers are strong enough to overthrow the entire divinity, or even the stronger main temple-s. Do you think he's strong? It was all created by the ancient god himself. It's simply ridiculously strong. The Ice Thunderbird was extremely excited. Although he wanted to see if the one inside the coffin was the ancient god, he valued his life more. The Ice Thunderbird said, Brother, let's go. Let's hurry up and go. Don't look at who's inside. It doesn't matter what ancient god or the Low Valley god. It is more important for us to leave this place. He didn't want to stay a moment longer. Moreover, he felt extremely insecure when he was with Long Fei. He could be in dire straits at any time. Long Fei became more and more interested to be able to create a plane, train all of the people in the plane into gods, and overturn the existence of the main temple. This F***CK. This must be a fucking calling story, right? Long Fei grinned. Since he is so powerful, why did he fall? The Ice Thunderbird said, I don't know about that. In any case, the ancient world has disappeared, and the ancient god will also disappear forever. This is something that happened billions of years ago. Don't talk so much now. Can you get off the dragon's back? Long Fei said, Who cares if he's a primordial god? Or not, just go up and take off the lid of his coffin. Then, Long Fei quickly flew over. The Ice Thunderbird could not stop shouting. Boom. 10 minutes later, Long Fei stood on top of the bronze coffin. The Ice Thunderbird's body was trembling as she muttered a prayer. God, as a witness, I did my best to persuade him to stop. Everything he did has nothing to do with me at all. It really has nothing to do with me at all. Long Fei looked at the ancient runes on the bronze coffin. He had seen many runes, but he had never seen these runes before. Long Fei's feet trembled, and he said faintly, Your ancient god. The air exploded. At this moment, the surroundings were densely packed with black dark magician panthers, all of them releasing ferocious low roars from their throats. Their 2 eyes were staring straight at Long Fei, as if they were going to tear Long Fei apart at any moment. Long Fei swept his gaze across them, shouted in a deep voice, and said, Scram far away from me. I don't have time to take care of you right now. Then, Long Fei made a grasping motion with his right hand, and a stream of power was released, immediately causing the lid of the coffin to fly out. The Ice Thunderbird closed her eyes in fear, not daring to look at Long Fei again. Long Fei floated in midair, his eyes sinister looking at the coffin. A woman? The Ice Thunderbird was startled. What did you say? Inside the coffin lay a lifelike woman who seemed to have fallen asleep. She was an extremely beautiful woman, indescribably beautiful. No flaws were found. Perfect. Jojo was very beautiful. The leopard girl was very wild and gentle. The big sister fairy was very beautiful. Long Fei had many women. All of them were beautiful beyond compare. However, none of them were as beautiful as the woman in front of them. Sleeping Beauty. It was so beautiful that people didn't dare to have any profane thoughts, making them feel suffocated. That skin, that appearance, Long Fei felt like kneeling down and kowtowing with such beauty. Do you still want to let me live? other than a sleeping beauty. There was nothing else in the coffin, not even a funeral. Is this the ancient god? Archaic poor deities are more or less the same. Long Fei had thought that the coffin was filled with super holy artifact, and the like, but now, it was just a woman. What a disappointment. Moreover, and she was a dead woman, which made it all the more boring. Didn't you just say that the ancient god could create planes and cultivate countless divine-level powerhouse? You didn't know he was a woman? Long Fei shivered, feeling that it was meaningless. The ice thunderbird was a little confused. Woman, it can't be? Ancient god is a man. Why would it be a woman? Long Fei said, Where exactly did you hear all this? The ice thunderbird said, I heard it from a wandering Taoist. At that time, I was still young, but his words were exciting. Your sister. That Taoist Yufeng is a storyteller, right? Long Fei muttered, and turned to look at the lifelike woman, and said, I had thought that the 9-dragon coffin was such an amazing person, just a woman. It's so boring. Then, Long Fei was just about to leave. A woman, a dead woman. Long Fei was not too interested in her. Just as he was about to leave, he suddenly felt the woman moving her fingers. In that moment, Long Fei's hair stood on end, and his palms broke out in cold sweat. Don't tell me he wants to swindle a corpse. Billions of years of dead bodies. What kind of big F asterisk king dumpling is this? Long Fei became cautious. However, at this time, when the ice thunderbird heard that it wasn't an ancient god, he became crazy and said, 9-dragon coffin, if it isn't an ancient god pulling a woman, then this woman is definitely not simple. She might have a divine spark in her body. A divine spark? Long Fei was shocked. Ice Thunderbird said, Yes, a divine spark. A divine spark can change a person's life in an instant. And you don't even have to go to the divinity. You can be placed in the divine class and enter the main temple. This is a great opportunity. Speaking of divine sparks, the surrounding black, dark magician, leopard's eyes became even more sinister. The ice thunderbird flew to Long Fei's side and said excitedly, How about we dig out the divine spark? I'll dig your ass out. Long Fei smacked the ice thunderbird on its head and knocked it on the head, causing a big bag to appear. It's already dead. Do you still want to steal its corpse? The dead are the biggest. Have you never heard of this before? To a divine spark. Long Fei also wanted to, but it wouldn't be good if such a beautiful woman tore her body apart. The ice thunderbird was beaten up and muttered, I was just casually saying that. Don't take it seriously. And then Long Fei grabbed with his right hand and grabbed the lid of the coffin, then looked at the woman in the coffin and said, Sorry about that. Let's continue sleeping. Just as the lid of the coffin was about to close, buzz. The woman's eyes abruptly opened. Sis 1394, can you not be like this? Sis 1394, can you not be like this? Young Master Kwong, everything was as you expected. That brat, Long Fei, fell into the abyss of death, but those Hell Gate also fell into the abyss. A disciple reported with a smile. Song Kwong laughed coldly and said, All right, against me? This is what happens to you. Ha ha ha. Song Kwong laughed out loud. As for the Hell Gate, we don't need to care about them. And then Song Kwong said, I need to leave for a moment. Not long later, Song Kwong arrived at an extremely remote corner of the examination grounds and saw a young figure standing there with his hands behind his back. He stood at the edge of the cliff and looked at the sky not far away. Master, everything was as you expected. Long Fei fell into the abyss. Song Kwong was very careful. He did not dare be disrespectful in the slightest. The man slightly turned around. Zhan Wushuang. Zhan Wushuang smiled slightly. Very good. This is for you. Zhan Wushuang flung out his right hand, throwing out a space ring as he said, "The things inside are enough for you to take all the exams that come next." Song Kuang was ecstatic. He immediately kneeled on the ground and said, "Thank you, Master." Zhan Wushuang laughed coldly as he thought in his heart, "Long Fei, no matter how fast you grow, it's useless. Lear is mine, and everything she has is mine." While they were talking, Zhan Wushuang's body disappeared. Song Kuang slowly stood up, opened the door of the space ring S, and looked. He was incomparably excited as he said, "Ha ha ha, this time the victory is certain. In another place. Song Kuang, get the hell out here." Yi Jingyun was infuriated beyond compare as he returned to the entrance of the Tower Question of Goddess, heading straight for Song Kuang's residence. "How dare you? Damn, I think he's tired of living. Young Master Kuang, do you want me to teach him a lesson?" Song Kuang truly researched the good stuff within the space ring. He took out a set of holy artifact S from the space ring, flickering with blue light. Holy artifact, that's the holy artifact. What a powerful strength. Song Kuang waved it a few times, shouted, and said, "Let him in. Watch the door while you're at it. I'm going to teach him a lesson." The corner of Song Kuang's mouth drew back, and he laughed coldly. "Yi Jingyun, this old man has not liked you for a long time." Yi Jingyun rushed into the courtyard. The door to the courtyard closed. Song Kuang laughed coldly. With Yi Jingyun shouting so loudly, "Could it be that your master has died?" Yi Jingyun stared at the complacent Song Kuang. Without saying a word, he punched out. A powerful force burst out, suppressing Song Kuang completely. "Song Kuang, give me your life." Humph. The corner of Song Kuang's mouth drew back, laughed coldly, and said, "If it was in the past, I might not be able to do anything to you, but now." The blue flame divine sword moved, and a blue sword beam shot out. He directly crushed all the qi on Yi Jingyun's body, pierced through Yi Jingyun's chest with his sword, and kicked him out, sending him flying. Bam! Song Kuang laughed coldly and said, "Trash." Yi Jingyun looked at the blue divine sword in Song Kuang's hand. "Holy artifact." Song Kuang laughed. "Not bad. You're quite knowledgeable, and you actually know that it's a holy artifact." Yi Jingyun said, "So what if you're a holy artifact? You despicable, sinister, and vile person, you have plotted against the young Master Long. Someone like you is not fit to participate in the Tower Question of God's test." Finished. Yi Jingyun crazily rushed forward again. Song Kuang laughed out loud and said, "Sinister and despicable? Designing a trap? Ha ha ha. These are just excuses for the weak. Yi Jingyun's world is focused on strength. Do you understand? Idiot." As his voice fell, the blue flame's divine sword in his hand moved again, completely sealing off Yi Jingyun's attack. Bam! Bam! Blood gushed out of his thigh after 3 consecutive blows. Yi Jingyun was unable to stand steadily, and his body staggered as he continuously retreated. At this moment, the door burst open, and Nangong Yen rushed in, seeing Yi Jingyun's entire body covered in blood. His eyes sunk, staring straight at Song Kuang. A lot of disciples also rushed into the yard to watch the show. An evil smile surfaced on Song Kuang's face as he stared at Nangong Yan's chest and said, "Nangong Yan, how about you be my woman from today onwards? I guarantee that I'll let you pass the examination." Ha ha ha. Nangong Yan moved his body and thrusted his sword forward. Song Kuang laughed complacently and said, "It's your fortune that this father has taken a liking to you. Don't be so King shameless." The blue flame divine sword in his hand moved, and an extremely strong aura of holy artifact crazily pressed over, directly sealing Nangong Yan's attack. At this moment, the sword chi moved. After slicing open the clothes on Nangong Yan's chest, her snow-white skin was exposed. Wow, so big, so white. Everyone quickly take a look. It's really big. Everyone laughed. Nan Gongyan's face did not change as he stared at the holy artifact in Song Kuang's hand. Song Kuang stared at Nan Gongyan's white chest and laughed. Come again, this time. His gaze slowly moved downwards and finally stopped at the bottom of Nan Gongyan's thigh. A lewd smile surfaced at the corner of his mouth, and he said, Nan Gongyan, if you accompany me properly tonight, I will make you comfortable. Shut up. Nan Gongyan rushed forward. She was very strong. However, her power was the power of an evil demon, so she could not be used here. She had experienced too many things. She wouldn't lose her composure just because her clothes were cut open. She definitely couldn't use the evil power in her body. Shua, Song Kuang attacked with his sword. His face had a frivolous smile. Put your pants down for me. At this moment, a wave of power came crashing down and shouted, Enough! The Isung descended. The god power was released and bounced Song Kuang and Nan Gongyan away, staring at the holy artifact in Song Kuang's hand. Isung frowned and changed the topic. Who dares to move? No matter what the reason is, a personal duel within the assessment department will result in the disqualification of the examinees. Song Kuang retracted his sword and said, Elder, they are the ones who have rushed in front of me. Isung stared at Nan Gongyan and said, Why aren't you leaving yet? Song Kuang laughed coldly. Yi Jingyun stared at Song Kuang and said, Song Kuang, this matter is not over. When Yong Master Long comes back, let's see how he will take care of you. Back. Do you think those who fell into the abyss of death can come back? Song Kuang laughed complacently. Ha ha. Iseng's brows tightened. Abyss of death. He sighed in his heart. What a pity. In another place. Leave, I really don't know you. Are you going or not? Sis, I'm begging you, stop hugging my leg. Look at me. I'm not that child demon god. I'm just an ordinary person. Sis, can you not be like this? Within the mountain forest, a gigantic ice thunderbird followed behind Long Fei. Moreover, his thigh was hugged by a peerless beauty. This woman was the sleeping beauty of the 9-dragon coffin. Chapter 1395, The God of Elements. Chapter 1395. The God of Elements, the 9-dragon coffin, was pulling a woman who was in a deep sleep for who knows how many years. He suddenly woke up. Long Fei panicked a little and thought to himself, Big dumpling, exploding to death, what the hell is this? The ice thunderbird was also frightened. After all, he was a 9-dragon coffin, so he must be some super powerful being. If he were to suddenly open his eyes and wake up, wouldn't that mean his world would be turned upside down and not even a blade of grass would grow? However, unexpectedly, when the sleeping beauty saw Long Fei, it immediately grabbed onto his leg without letting go, like a child who was afraid of being thrown away again. Long Fei couldn't shake him off, no matter how hard he tried. Too deadly. Sis, can you not be like this? Can we walk properly? Long Fei wanted to cry, but there was no tears at all. The sleeping beauty asked with its mouth wide open, You won't run away anymore, right? Run. When it came to running, Long Fei had the urge to cry. This girl's speed is simply too fast. Invincible, at least 10 times stronger than him. Want to run? He probably wouldn't be able to win in this life. After running out twice in a row, Long Fei thought that she had lost her life, but she was just waiting for him in front of her. Long Fei said, I swear to the heavens, I will never run again. I can't run away from you either. Who the hell are you? Long Fei was puzzled. Logically speaking, the ancient god should not be a woman, right? Then who was she? To be able to lie in a 9-dragon coffin. She was definitely not simple. The sleeping beauty tilted her head and thought for a long time before shaking her head, I don't know who I am. You woke me up. You should know who I am. Long Fei said. You don't even know who you are. How would I know? Sigh. How could a woman, who didn't even know who she was, be an ancient god? The Ice Thunderbird's face was also filled with suspicion as she said, This woman is very problematic. Long Fei glared at it and said, Didn't you say he is an ancient god? Didn't you say that he created the ancient era? You're saying there's a problem? You hammer. Long Fei really wanted to ruthlessly beat the Ice Thunderbird a few times. If his words did not sound so good, Long Fei would not have held much hope. Now, she was just a little enchantress. The Sleeping Beauty said, You don't know who I am? Then who am I? That's not right. You woke me up, so you definitely know who I am. Since I don't care, I'll follow you. Wherever you go, I'll go. Don't even think about getting rid of me. He looked like he was determined to follow Long Fei. He had to say it. She was really beautiful. If such a girl was placed outside, her beautiful appearance would be enough to shock the entire chaos realm. But can a beauty be eaten as a meal? Moreover, what Long Fei needed right now was not a woman, but a level. Humph! Long Fei exhaled a long breath, looked at the color of the sky, and said, It's impossible to go back today. Set up a bonfire. Long Fei sat beside the bonfire, grabbed his arm, and fell asleep while leaning on his shoulder. Her body was very light. His body was emitting a faint body fragrance, which was intoxicating. The Ice Thunderbird whispered, What do we do now? Long Fei asked, What else can we do? I can't possibly leave her alone in the wilderness, right? Right. Aren't you the guard divine beast of the land flower? Take the land flower. Long Fei took out the land flower. This kind of ultimate spirit grass was indeed good stuff. It could raise the quality of the pills, and could basically let him pass the test without using old Lord Taishang's power. However, the Ice Thunderbird was now a devil god mount, and was also his brother. Long Fei would naturally not be stingy about it. However, the instant Long Fei took out the land flower, the Sleeping Beauty suddenly woke up. Before the Ice Thunderbird could be moved, the Sleeping Beauty snatched the land flower away before him. She stared blankly and said, This, boss, what do you care? The Sleeping Beauty took the land flower and said, Land flower, also known as Di Ling Hua. It matures once every 50 years and is a spiritual treasure of heaven and earth. Then, the Sleeping Beauty idea moved. He dug a small hole and buried the land flower inside. The Ice Thunderbird was immediately dumbfounded and said, If he touches the soil, he will instantly wither, and this land flower will be completely wasted. After being harvested by the land flower, it would never come into contact with dirt again. Otherwise, the flower would be ruined. It was completely useless. The Ice Thunderbird wanted to stop her, but was stopped by Long Fei, because the Sleeping Beauty looked very serious. Her body emitted a very strange kind of power. The land flower was buried in the pit, just as the Ice Thunderbird had said. The land flower quickly wilted and withered, turning into a withered dead flower. It's over. It's over. The land flower I guarded for 50 years was gone just like that. Sigh, my earth elemental essences. It seems that I'll never be able to successfully train in it in this lifetime. The Ice Thunderbird sighed to the sky, feeling terrible pain. However, at that moment, a strange scene occurred. The tender shoots around the Sleeping Beauty began to sprout out of the ground one by one, and they slowly spread their leaves at a speed visible to the naked eye. In a short 10 minutes, more than 10 mature land flower appeared in front of Long Fei. Damn! In this instant, Long Fei was dumbstruck and thought in his heart, I've struck it rich. He's really F*** King Rich. Ha ha ha. Is this your ability? Long Fei was extremely excited. A landflower was a top-grade spirit grass. This kind of spirit grass would take 50 years to grow, but the Sleeping Beauty took only 10 minutes. What kind of concept was this? Moreover, she had turned a spirit grass into 10 stalks. Wasn't it about to be released? The Ice Thunderbird also could not believe what had just happened. It looked at Long Fei dumbstruck and asked, "Boss, am I dreaming?" The Sleeping Beauty giggled and said, "This spirit grass contains earth elemental energy. As long as you have enough earth elemental energy, it can grow quickly. Ample amounts of earth elemental essence. In this mountain range, even the most powerful of earth elementals would not be able to cultivate 10 land flower in 10 minutes. As Long Fei looked at the Sleeping Beauty, he started to become uncontrollably excited in his heart. Staring blankly at the Sleeping Beauty, she said, You can't be the elemental god, right?" The Ice Bird stared blankly at the Sleeping Beauty and said, "Someone who can enrich the earth element is probably the elemental god." "Damn, this is too outrageous, isn't it?" The Sleeping Beauty mumbled, "The elemental god? What is the elemental god?" She had a puzzled look on her face. She had no idea what elemental energy was, and certainly had no idea what the elemental god was. Long Fei grinned excitedly. "From today onwards, you will follow me." The Sleeping Beauty immediately nodded and said heavily, "And..." Chapter 1396. Song Kuang, you are very arrogant. Chapter 1396. Song Kuang, you are very arrogant. Early morning, the training field. Ha ha ha. Countless sounds of ridicule came from the results board. Another 0. He scored 0 again. He really broke a record. There has never been anyone who scored 0 in 2 consecutive rounds. What a wonder. On the cloth screen, Long Fei's assessment in Punish Evil Secret Territory was still 0. Very strange. 0 is no longer important. That brat Long Fei already died in the abyss of death. It could also be considered as him creating history. Ha ha ha. It's the lowest record in history, and it's a record no one can surpass. Ha ha ha. Everyone laughed out loud. Song Kuang's face was full of pride, and he laughed coldly. "You dare to be arrogant with me? Come again." Humph. He rushed in front of the Oracle S and said, "Did you make a mistake?" The elders of Yiseng had announced it the day before yesterday, so Long Fei's result should have been perfect. He should have reached 100 points. It shouldn't have been 0. Nangongyan also did not understand. The Oracle did not respond. Yi Jingyun became even more furious and said, "Shouldn't you give me an explanation?" The eyes of the Oracle moved, and he shouted, "Why should I give you an explanation? Who do you think you are? I'm warning you, if you dare to continue to clamor here, don't blame us for being impolite." Yi Jingyun also shouted out loud, "For 100 points to become 0, shouldn't you give an explanation? You still dare to clamor. Looking for a beating." Oracle suddenly roared. He suddenly made his move and punched Yi Jingyun in the abdomen. Bam! Yi Jingyun was pushed back dozens of meters consecutively, spitting out a mouthful of blood. Adding the sword wound yesterday, his entire body was on the verge of collapse. Serves you right. He really doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Well fought. Yi Jingyun, even if Long Fei dies, even if he gets 1,000 points, what use is it? What honor is there for a dead man? Ha ha ha. Song Kuang laughed coldly and said, "Yi Jingyun, you want to stand up for your master. Unfortunately, you're too inexperienced." All sorts of mocking laughter rang out. Yi Jingyun was extremely unhappy. He clenched his fists tightly. Song Kuang looked at his furious expression and said, "You're not convinced? If you're not convinced, don't stay here. Go home and drink your mother's milk." Ha ha ha. Yi Jingyun said, Song Kuang, you want to urge me to leave, huh? Young Master Long's death is related to you. I will definitely take revenge on you. Just you wait. Yi Jingyun rarely worshipped a person. Long Fei was the first. This matter was obviously Song Kuang's scheme. He had to take revenge. Song Kuang sneered. With just you? Yesterday you were like a dead dog, and you even dared to be arrogant in front of me. Enough. Just then, the Yi Sung descended from the sky. Nangong Yen immediately walked forward and said, Elder, why did Long Fei's score become 0? You said yesterday that his score had reached a perfect 100. Yi Sung also wanted to know, so after the results came out, he immediately made a trip to the Tower Question of God. He did not get any answer. Just one sentence, and everything will be decided by the results on the bulletin board. In other words, I don't need any reasons to give you 0 points. This was how overbearing he was. Yi Sung frowned and shook his head slightly. He then said, I am not too sure why my results changed. This is the result of the audit. Forget it. I'm afraid the odds are against Long Fei falling into the abyss of death. Is everyone here? Yi Sung sighed in his heart and felt pity for Long Fei. He had fought for Long Fei before, but it was useless. One of the oracles answered, reporting to the elders, other than the one who died, and Long Fei, who did not appear. Everyone else is here. Yi Sung slightly nodded and said, All right, then let's prepare for the 3rd round of the examination. Nangong Yen said, Elder, let's wait a little longer. Long Fei will definitely rush back. He definitely will not die so easily. She was very familiar with Long Fei. No matter what kind of predicament he encountered, he would be able to come back alive. In Fireglass City, he had walked from a broken pubis to this day, not because of luck, but because of his strength. She had always believed that Long Fei was still alive. Ha ha ha. Still alive. Nangong Yen, is something wrong with your brain? Do you want me to give you a general understanding of the land of death? Song Kuang laughed in disdain and said, Whoever goes in there won't be able to return alive. Yi Jingyun immediately rebuked angrily, So you plan to frame Long Fei. Song Kuang naturally would not admit it and said, Yi Jingyun, don't slander others. I did not let him go to the profound peak cliff. You were the ones who told him to go. Nangong Yen frowned. This matter was indeed something that she had allowed Long Fei to do, but she could not have imagined that the place was so dangerous. At this time, a disciple shouted, Elder, there is no need to wait for a dead person. Exactly. Let's begin. Our time is not for waiting for the dead. Clan Elder, this kind of person is not qualified to participate in the examination. Quite a few people started shouting. It didn't matter if the exam was 0, but if you are absent, that would be equivalent to being eliminated, and there would never be a second chance. As long as the 3rd round of examination began, and Long Fei was unable to show up on time, even if he was absent, he would be eliminated of the competition. Regardless of whether or not Long Fei was dead, Song Kuang did not want to give him another chance to crawl back up. If he lost an opponent, he gained an extra bit of hope. Moreover, in the future, when he becomes a Tower Question of God, he will have a lot of methods to deal with a small Long Fei. Yi Sung frowned and said, Wait another 10 minutes. 10 minutes later, it's about to begin. Song Kuang laughed coldly, looked at Nangong Yen and said, Nangong Yen, that brat has already died, and you should give up on me. How about this? Let's make an extra bet. If I win, you'll be my woman. If I lose, I won't bother you anymore. What do you say? Nangong Yen coldly looked at Song Kuang and said, If you lose, you will kneel in Long Fei's courtyard and kowtow and admit your mistake. The corner of Song Kuang's mouth raised slightly and said, No problem. One of the lackeys beside him said in a low voice, Young Master Kuang. Song Kuang smiled faintly and said, Relax, I'm definitely going to win. The alchemy technique was his strong point, but it was still not his absolute win. The one he won was the spirit grass among all the space ring that Zhan Wushuang gave him. High-leveled spirit grass. Time flowed on. In the blink of an eye, 10 minutes had passed. Song Kuang laughed. I say that trash has died. At least we can start now. Even if he didn't die, he was still absent for the assessment. This kind of person who despises Tower Question of God should be eliminated and never have the chance to participate in the assessment again. At this moment, in the distance, Long Fei slowly walked over and lightly smiled. Song Kuang, you're very arrogant. Chapter 1397. I feel like I'm omnipotent. Chapter 1397. I feel like I'm omnipotent. As his voice faded, the entire martial arts practice field shook violently. Everyone looked behind them. Young Master Long. Long Fei. Nangong Yen was especially excited, and his eyes became moist. This time, the reason why Long Fei went out to find the spirit grass was because she was the one who brought it with her. She blamed herself in her heart when something had happened to Long Fei, but now, seeing that Long Fei had returned safe and sound, she felt hot tears welling up in her eyes. Yi Jingyun immediately ran over and said excitedly, It's back, it's back, did you see it? It's back. Seeing Yi Jingyun's limping steps, Long Fei's brows tightened and said, Your injury. Yi Jingyun replied, I'm fine. Long Fei stared at Song Kuang. Song Kuang's eyes slightly narrowed as he muttered in a low voice, Impossible, impossible, there's no reason. People who fall into the dead zone can never come back alive. Are you sure he fell? Song Kuang stared at the minions beside him and asked. The lackey said, I saw him fall with my own eyes. I don't know how I got back alive. Long Fei walked into the group. Yi Jingyun said in a low voice, Yong, Master Long, I don't know why your second round of the examination scores went 0. I'm afraid someone above is targeting you. Long Fei smiled faintly and said, Isn't it just a 0? There's no need to worry. With 2 matches with 0 points, he was on the verge of being eliminated. If a student's result from the 3rd round was less than 95, then he would not need to scream miserably for the 4th round and be eliminated from the competition. Song Kuang stared at Long Fei and laughed coldly, saying, Long Fei, you're finally back. Long Fei said, I'm back. You don't seem to be happy. Right, did you reconnect your fingers? Song Kuang clenched his fists tightly, the anger in his heart surging. He immediately laughed. You're back? I'm very happy. If not, how would I trample you under my feet? I feel a bit embarrassed to step on someone with the lowest score. Ha 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 ha. The people around him began to laugh. Yi Jingyun was enraged. She wanted to rush up, but was stopped by Long Fei and said indifferently, Seems like your fingers are itching again. All right. The Yi Sung stopped the argument and said, Everyone is here. Next, we will proceed with the 3rd round of examination, the alchemy assessment. In any plane of existence, the uses of pills are incomparably great, be it in this chaos realm, or when you enter the Tower Question of God, or even when you enter the ancient holy battlefield one day, you will need powerful pills to support you. The pills were refined with extra points, so I hope that you can take it seriously. The effects of the pill were immense. A good pill could even change the outcome of a battle. And then, Isung slightly said, I will give you 3 days. For these 3 days, I hope that you can completely grasp the alchemy technique and take the examination 3 days later. There is no one here to teach you. You can only rely on yourselves. Release the pill furnaces. There was a buffer of time for the pill examination. Song Kuang stared at Long Fei and laughed. 3 days later, I will trample you to death. Long Fei said, Since you are that confident, then don't go for 3 days. How about it? Song Kuang laughed complacently. You want to compete in alchemy with me? Ha ha ha. Are you in such a hurry to be trampled by me? Then Laozi will help you. Cough, cough. Yi Seng's eyes turned cold. He coughed and said, Did you not hear what I just said clearly? For the assessment, 3 days from now, you must properly grasp the alchemy technique. And then the Yi Sung sent a sound transmission to Long Fei and said, The Song family is a clan of alchemy, and Song Kuang's alchemy technique has reached the realm of great grandmaster. If you want to teach them a lesson and stay here, then the third round of examination will have to be held with 95 points. Understand? Someone is targeting you up there. You must be careful not to get caught in any of these steps. Otherwise, even Elder Wang will not be able to protect you. Moreover, you will implicate her. The Yi Sung warned Long Fei. In the past, no one put Long Fei in their eyes. However, this time, for some reason, the entire tower question of God's power seemed to be targeting Long Fei. Not only the elders of the tower question of God, even the Saint Presbyter guarding the divine pagoda also rejected Long Fei. Because Zhan Wushuang, it's not hard to see from the test scores, he had clearly achieved a perfect result, even better than Zhan Wushuang's. However, he had unexpectedly achieved 0 points, and for no reason at all. This was a blatant provocation. Long Fei replied, Thank you for the elder's reminder. I will be careful. If you can see Elder Wang, please tell her I will definitely not disappoint her. Then, Long Fei returned to his residence with the pill furnace. Yi Jingyun and Nan Gongyan wanted to follow along, but were stopped by Long Fei and said, The two of you must improve your alchemy technique well in these 3 days. If there are any questions on the alchemy technique, you can ask me. There's 1 hour of communication every night. You can come over at that time, but the rest of the time, just focus on your cultivation. The look in Long Fei's eyes were all different. Nangong, Yen felt that Long Fei felt that he had become more serious. 2 0 points in one match and another 0 points in another match. Long Fei was indifferent to the results, but he absolutely could not accept being relegated. He didn't want to disappoint this big sister fairy. The two of them left. Long Fei closed the door, took out the pill furnace, and gently exhaled. 3 days, I want to bring the level increase of the alchemy technique to the great perfection stage. And then, the idea moved. Long Fei took out his pill furnace. At this moment, the Sleeping Beauty uncontrollably ran out from Long Fei's space ring and gasped for breath. We're finally out. Under normal circumstances, living beings would basically not be able to enter the space ring, but the Sleeping Beauty was a special beast. Before he even finished speaking, he had already hugged Long Fei's arm and stuck it onto his body. He giggled and said, Do you miss me, Master? Master? Long Fei was startled and asked, Who taught you? The Sleeping Beauty giggled and said, I learned it myself. Then he looked at the pill furnace in Long Fei's hand and said, Alchemy furnace, such a low level. This kind of alchemy furnace can at most refine 3rd-grade pills. If it is more, it will explode. Long Fei looked at the Sleeping Beauty in shock and said, You even know alchemy? The Sleeping Beauty thought about it for a moment and said, I don't know. I just feel that I'm omnipotent. Long Fei's eyes widened as he muttered, Can you not be so arrogant? She wasn't acting cool. She was really awesome. In another place, in the remote back mountain of the examination grounds, Song Kuang kneeled on the ground and said, Master, I really didn't expect him to return alive. He is my death land. Zhan Wushuang said coldly, All right, there's no need to say any more. There's only one thing you need to do right now. You must firmly step on him in the alchemy assessment so that he won't get his 95 points. Song Kuang immediately said, Master, don't worry. I will definitely win an alchemy assessment. Zhan Wushuang's eyes became cold and said, In these 3 days, I will have an elder guide you, allowing your alchemy technique to reach an even higher realm, and also... Chapter 1398, Crazy Rise. Chapter 1398, Crazy Rise. Long Fei was not allowed to enter the Tower Question of God. Zhan Wushuang would definitely not let him enter because he did not want Xian Yuan, Li Heir, to know that he was still alive. He didn't want Long Fei to affect her. Thus, he would use all connections to ruthlessly trample Long Fei. Ding. Proficiency plus 10 points. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for his alchemy technique. Current level 3. Damn. Just 1 rank for half an hour? Isn't that a bit too fast? Long Fei secretly clicked his tongue as he looked at the sleeping beauty who was leaning on his shoulder. He was a little confused. What could omnipotence be? What is the elemental god? Long Fei was finding it harder and harder to understand the sleeping beauty. Sometimes, Long Fei even had a feeling that the sleeping beauty was the ancient god, because no one had seen it, nor did anyone know the gender of the archaic deity. What if she really was a woman? Just by herself leaning on his body, Long Fei's alchemy technique proficiency would change from 1 point every time to 10 points every time. It had to be said that this woman was really too mysterious, too sharp. Moreover, the alchemy technique she mentioned was the same as gobbledygook S. Long Fei did not understand a single word she said. It was not that she was blabbering nonsense, but that Long Fei's level was not high enough. Continue. Ding. Proficiency plus 10 points. Ding. Proficiency plus 10 points. Ding. Proficiency plus 10 points. Long Fei continuously trained, and the proficiency of the alchemy technique continuously rose. This time, Long Fei was very serious and did not take the previous 2 exams seriously. Now that someone was going to target him and someone was trying to stop him, Long Fei would naturally not let them go. Moreover, he guessed who was stopping him. Zhan Wushuang. He was the person with the best results since the start of the Tower Question of God test. Countless elders held him in high regard, and some, even the Tower Lord of Tower Question of God, had taken a fancy to him. People who were destined to be sent to the ancient holy battlefield. These kind of people could possibly bring unparalleled honor and glory to the Chaos Realm's Tower Question of God, and they could also receive even more rewards. Thus, anyone who obstructed Zhan Wushuang was their enemy. The more you hinder me, the more I want to kill you one by one. Zhan Wushuang, I was no match for you before, but now I'm here. Long Fei steeled his heart and continued to cultivate his alchemy technique. 3 days in a row, Long Fei was always crazily raising his alchemy technique, and at the same time, combining it with his own comprehension, he would slowly comprehend the guidance of the sleeping beauty. Every time he comprehended clearly, the speed at which Long Fei cultivated the alchemy technique would increase. Tonight, Yi Jingyun shared his experiences with Nangong Yen, helping them to understand their doubts. Song Kuang was also training nonstop. In his room was the Hall Master of the Tower Question of God, as Alchemy Hall, who also possessed the most alchemy in the entire Chaos Realm. He was also the pinnacle of alchemist. With his guidance, Song Kuang also improved by leaps and bounds. His alchemy's speed, technique, and quality of the medicinal pellets were all increased by leaps and bounds. Long Fei, just wait and moan at my feet. Ha ha ha. Song Kuang laughed out wildly. He was 100% sure that he could win against Long Fei this time. Don't let your guard down. You'd better not mess up young Master Wushuang's matter, or else, the pavilion master said calmly. Song Kuang immediately said, I will definitely get Long Fei out of here. The pavilion master replied flatly, That's for the best. He was also extremely confident. The Song family was an alchemy family, and Song Kuang had a very unique comprehension of alchemy, which could be easily comprehended with just a few techniques. It could be said that in the future, he would definitely be able to reach the peak of Chaos Realm's alchemy. Oh, right. What happened to Long Fei during the past few days? Song Kuang replied, Closed door. With his level of alchemy, even if he was given another 100 years, he still wouldn't be able to surpass me. Master, rest assured, I will definitely be able to defeat him. The assessment is tomorrow. How are your equipment? Long Fei asked. Yi Jingyun laughed. Young Master Long, you can rest assured. In the past, I did not dare say anything, but now I am fine with it. Nan Gongyan replied, I have no problems too. They were alchemy rookies. However, in these 3 days, the alchemy technique that Long Fei had guided them had undergone a tremendous change, just like how a caterpillar had transformed into an emperor butterfly. Nan Gongyan asked, What about you? Long Fei smiled faintly and said, I should be all right. Nan Gong Yen wanted to say something, but hesitated. Long Fei said, Ask away. Nan Gong Yen said, Life essence. Yi Jingyun also looked at Long Fei. He had heard about the matter of the life essence, and the rumor had come from Long Fei. Long Fei said, I did not refine that. Nan Gong Yen did not ask further, but only gave a light. The night passed in silence. The next morning, martial arts arena was already full of people, all of them in high spirits. This time, our young Master Kuang will win. The Song family is a clan of alchemy, and the alchemy technique of the young Master Kuang is at the Grandmaster realm. Long Fei, if it wasn't for me, he wouldn't even be qualified to carry young Master Kuang's shoes. Does he know what alchemy is? Ha ha ha. Yi Jingyun followed Long Fei to the martial arts practice grounds. Hearing these words, Yi Jingyun was not happy and said, These people are really cheap. Don't bother. Just use the alchemy technique to slap them hard later on. Long Fei simply did not care about their words because they were filled with disdain. And then Yi Sung said, I hope that all of you can improve after 3 days of cultivation. Bring out the results of your 3 days of cultivation and show your strongest side. Let's begin. Today's test pill is Spirit Gathering Pill. You can pick any spirit grass, or you can use your own, but the condition is that you must refine a spirit gathering pill. The Yi Sung emphasized. Yi Jingyun said, Young Master Long, what spirit grass do you want? I'll take it for you. Long Fei replied, Just a few stalks will do. In addition, there are 2 land flower here. With your current level of alchemy, you should be able to control them. Land flower. 2 more. The 2 of them were stunned. Yi Jingyun said excitedly, Ha ha, let's see how Song Kuang will continue acting arrogantly this time. Song Kuang did not choose any spirit grass. Moreover, he already knew what pill he was concocting today, and he had been concocting psionic condensing pills these past 3 days. It could be said that he could even concoct top-grade psionic condensing pills with his eyes closed. As for spirit grasses, he was already prepared. All of them were high-quality spirit grass. Song Kuang looked at Long Fei, who was in the midst of the crowd, and said with a cold smile, Brat, let's see how I will humiliate you today. A few minutes later, Yi Sung said, Alchemy start. And then all of the disciples sat on the ground and started their alchemy. Less than half a minute, Song Kuang was the first to stand up and said, The refinement is complete. His speed was as though he was flying. Song Kuang looked at Long Fei, and then said to Nangong Yen, "Nangong Yen, we have a bet. If I win, you can be my woman. Don't worry. I will definitely make you feel good about the heavens. Being my Song Kwang's sex slave plaything is your honor. Long Fei, your woman is about to become my plaything. How do you feel?" Ha ha ha. Chapter 1399, The Demon God's Displeasure. Chapter 1399, The Demon God's Displeasure Disturbing the Mind. This was a taboo. Alchemy required a high degree of concentration of mental energy, and Song Kwang's words were precisely meant to disturb Long Fei's state of mind, but he had never experienced anything like what Long Fei had previously experienced. This kind of method was useless to him, but it made Long Fei more serious instead. Long Fei grinned and laughed. "Song Kwang, you only know how to play some tricks. You are the only trash I wouldn't even know what's going on. Not long later." Boom, boom, boom. With muffled sounds again and again, all of the disciples stood up and said, "Forge complete." "Refining is done." Song Kwang looked at Long Fei and laughed. "I'm trash? Do you know what alchemy are? You understand alchemy?" Boom. Nangong Yen stood up and said, "I have finished refining." Song Kwang's eyes widened in shock, and he immediately said, "Nangong Yen, you have lost for sure. Come to my room tonight. I will take good care of you." A cold smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Nangong Yen squinted and did not say a word. Yi Jingyan also stood up and said, "The refinement is complete." By this time, most of the people had already finished refining, and most of them had already succeeded. Only a few people were still refining and replenishing their pills. Long Fei was one of them. He was still trying to perfect the spirit-gathering pill to perfection, so he was in no hurry. However, Song Kwang thought that Long Fei was just making a last-ditch effort and mocked and ridiculed him nonstop. Boom, boom. And how many people had finished refining it, leaving only Long Fei in the end? Song Kwang laughed. "Everyone come and take a look. Our powerful young Master Long is still struggling to the death. Alchemy? Do you know what is called alchemy?" Ha ha. The surrounding people roared with laughter. At this moment, Long Fei's eyes suddenly opened. A bright light flashed out, and he shouted out loud, "Done!" Rumble! With a loud bang, the pill furnace exploded. A puff of green smoke rose. Song Kwang was grinning from ear to ear. "Like I said, you don't know what alchemy is, right? A piece of trash, like you can actually use alchemy?" At this time, Long Fei slowly stood up and picked up the pill from the pill furnace fragment, walking past Song Kwang and coldly laughing. "Clown!" After which, he walked to the side of the ring and handed the pill over. He didn't even spare Song Kwang a glance. Song Kwang clenched his fists tightly. The key point was that he was so angry that smoke was coming out from his head. Long Fei completely ignored all of his mockery, as she simply looked down on him. Song Kwang said solemnly, "Long Fei, don't be too arrogant. You will know the result later and be stepped on by this daddy." He didn't believe that Long Fei could concoct any kind of decent spirit-gathering pill. He had noticed Long Fei's refining methods before, and it was simply a mess. Only people who didn't understand alchemy would do such a thing. A few minutes later, Isung announced the results. Song Kwang, top quality, 98 points. As soon as he finished, Song Kwang immediately laughed. His face was full of satisfaction, his eyes carrying a cold and contemptuous look as he looked at Long Fei, full of confidence and arrogance. 98 high points. Victory is set. Young Master Kwang, you have won. Ha ha ha. Young Master Kwang, can that Nangong Yen also let us have a good time? 98 was a very high score. Basically, it was an existence that was difficult to surpass. Song Kuang was very excited and pleased with himself. However, Long Fei didn't even look at him. Lu Sheng 80 points. Meng Quan, normal quality 75 points. Nangong Yen. Yi Song was startled and paused for a moment. Song Kuang's face revealed a lewd smile and said, Nangong Yen, prepare to moan under my crotch. Hee hee. Absolute quality 99 points. As soon as he finished, the entire audience was in complete silence. Song Kuang was even more dumbfounded as he looked at Yi Sung with a stupefied expression. Impossible, impossible. She doesn't even understand alchemy. How is it possible for her to get such a high score? Is it even of the highest quality? To refine a spirit-gathering pill is extremely difficult, and it is even more impossible. Yi Sung stared at him and said, Song Kuang, do you doubt our appraisal level? Song Kuang could clearly feel the anger in the Yi Seng's eyes, and immediately said, This disciple doesn't dare. I cannot refine a top-quality spirit-gathering pill. I raise my doubts. I want to personally verify it. You. How dare you? Yi Seng's eyes shook as she said faintly, Song Kuang, don't think that you can act so recklessly just because someone is supporting you. This is the tower question of God's assessment grounds, and I am the examiner's. You must be clear on this point. He was also not happy with Song Kuang. He knew very well who Song Kuang was helping him these past few days. He even knew how he was able to finish refining the spirit pill so quickly. To the other disciples of the assessment, this was unfair. Song Kuang clenched both his fists tightly and threw caution out, saying, Elder, I am only raising a reasonable question. You can't let me verify it, but I will definitely file a complaint against the higher-ups. I am not satisfied with Nangong Yan's result. Yi Jingyun laughed. I don't think you can afford to lose. Humph, Song Kuang laughed. I can't afford to lose. I have never been afraid of anyone in the alchemy. How dare a piece of trash like you, who was beaten into a dog by me, clamor in front of me? Song Kuang shouted heavily. At this moment, Yi Sung continued to read the results. Yi Jingyun, absolute quality 99 points. Pa! An invisible slap landed on Song Kuang's face. Yi Jingyun was grinning from ear to ear and said, Young Master Kuang, what's so good about it? Ha ha ha. Isn't your Song family from the alchemy aristocratic family? Why was I, an alchemy rookie, able to crush him? Song Kuang said heavily, I refuse to accept this. Yi Sung completely ignored him. Long Fei also sneered. Song Kuang stared at Long Fei and said, You're laughing at me? What qualifications do you have to do so? Yi Sung continued to recite the results and said, Long Fei, perfect quality, 100 points. Pa! Another slap landed on his face. Song Kuang almost vomited blood as he roared loudly, I refuse to accept this. I want to personally verify this pill. Yi Sung asked, What qualifications do you have to personally verify the pill? At this moment, a voice descended from the sky and lightly said, He doesn't have the qualifications. Do I have the qualifications? Boom. The moment he said those words, his aura exploded. Song Kuang's face immediately revealed a proud smile. Yi Sung bowed. Greetings, Elder Ling, Hallmaster Dan. Elder Ling lightly said, Do I have the qualifications to verify this pill? His voice was filled with power and pressure as it crazily rushed into the Yi Seng's sea of consciousness. Yi Seng's forehead was drenched in cold sweat as he said with difficulty, Elder, I am the examiner for this assessment. Not waiting for him to finish, Elder Ling suddenly shouted, Impudent! Plop! Yi Sung could not withstand the powerful pressure and directly knelt on the ground, unable to move from top to bottom. Elder Ling took the spirit-gathering pill Long Fei refined and looked at it. He did not even look at the quality of the pill, nor sensed the attributes of the pill, and directly said, "Waste powder, 0 points." Yi Sung was stunned. He had examined the pill Long Fei had refined before. It was definitely of the perfect quality. The corners of Long Fei's mouth curled up slightly as he let out a cold and sinister laugh. The demonic god in his body was in a bad mood. Chapter 1400. Simple, Your Life. Chapter 1400. Simple. Your life. What was the level of Long Fei's current alchemy technique? Within these 3 days, with the help of the Sleeping Beauty, his alchemy technique had already reached level 8, and his alchemy, consciousness, and grasp of the pellets had already reached the great perfection stage. He had already used the system to detect the psionic condensing pill he refined. No doubt about it. A perfect grade pill. The hall master of the pellet hall, Ling Jiu, obviously did not even glance at the pellet before saying that he was a waste powder, and directly gave a 0-point mark. This was clearly targeting Long Fei. It was naked bullying. The aloofness and haughtiness in his eyes made Long Fei very unhappy because he wanted to bully you. The other magic body also became more irritable. Another 0. Ha ha ha. Brat, I told you already. How could you know what alchemy is? You created history by scoring 0 in 3 consecutive rounds. Ha ha ha. I'm dying of laughter. The crowd burst into laughter. Song Kuang laughed the happiest as he looked at Long Fei with contempt. Long Fei, you have scored 0 for the pills and 0 for the 3 consecutive matches. You are truly amazing. How did you do it? Ha ha ha. Yi Jingyun took a step forward. Elder, there must be a mistake. My alchemy technique was taught to me by the young master Long Ling Jiu said very straightforwardly. If I say that his medicinal pellet is a waste powder, then it is a waste powder. Are you not convinced? If you are not convinced, then the pills you refine will also be waste powder-s, and will be left with 0 points. Nangong Yen was also extremely unhappy and said, "What kind of test is this? You say you can get as many results as you want. Is this the tower question of God?" Lingju sneered. "What? Do you also want to get a 0? Yi Jingyun said, "Motherf asterisk her. You didn't even look at the pills before saying that you got 0 points. And I even said that you are a bastard. You're courting death." Lingju's eyes darkened. He suddenly shouted, and the pressure from his body smashed towards Yi Jingyun like a huge wave. It was also at this time. Long Fei moved a step blocking in front of Yi Jingyun, and his body struck down heavily. Rumble! 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 A series of explosions sounded in the air as Long Fei's body lightly trembled. However, he forcefully withstood the powerful pressure, stared at the distant Lingjiu, and said, "You're the hall master of the pellet hall," Song Kuang bellowed. "Long Fei, what kind of words are you spouting to dare speak to the hall master like that? You..." Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei slid forward and landed in front of Song Kuang. Without waiting for him to finish speaking, he slapped him. "You better asterisk king calm down." Pa! A resounding slap on the face, directly sending Song Kuang sprawled on the ground. Bam! In an instant, he turned into a dead dog and fainted on the ground. A single slap caused the entire world to quieten down. The surrounding Song Kuang minions also retreated, no longer daring to make the slightest sound. Long Fei continued to ask, "You're the hall master of the tower question of God's pill hall?" Ling Jiu laughed coldly, looked at the Yi Sung at the side, and said, "In a public duel, according to the rules of the examination department, how should this kind of disciple be punished?" Without waiting for Yi Sung to speak, Long Fei's voice suddenly erupted with rage, exploding out, "I'm asking you a question. Are you the master of the tower question of God Pellet Hall?" The sound exploded. It was like a thunder. The entire training field was shocked. The corner of Ling Jiu's eyes twitched. He stared at Long Fei and said, "I am the hall master of the pellet hall." Long Fei said, "So, you're the person with the most powerful alchemy out of the Tower Question of God." Ling Jiu said, "You can say that." Long Fei said, "Very good. Didn't you say that the pills I refined were waste powder S? Then I'll challenge you now." As soon as he finished, Yi Jingyun and Nan Gong Yen shook violently. Yi Seng's expression also changed. Nan Gong Yen immediately pulled Long Fei back and said softly, "Are you crazy? He is not just an ordinary alchemist. He is the alchemy master of the Tower Question of God. A super alchemy master for those who have entered the ancient holy battlefield to refine pellets." Yi Jingyun also advised, "Young Master Long, calm down." HNG. Ling Ju sneered, his eyes full of disdain. "You challenge me? What qualifications do you have to challenge me? Brat, you should take a piss and look at yourself. Do you have the qualifications to challenge me?" He simply did not bother to accept Long Fei's challenge. Who is he? The hall master of the Tower Question of God Pellet could be said to be a powerhouse at the peak of the Chaos Realm's alchemy. A mere examination disciple simply didn't have the qualifications to challenge him. Yiseng also looked at Long Fei an idea as he sent a sound transmission to him. "Long Fei, don't mess around. I will think of a way to achieve your alchemy result." Long Fei didn't listen but said straightforwardly, "The master behind you wants me to leave the Tower Question of God exam, right? If I lose, I'll leave immediately." Ling Jiu's eyes darkened slightly as he said, "Your score is 0 in these 3 rounds. You have already lost the qualifications to continue with the assessment." However, Ling Jiu's tone changed as he sneered, "I accept your challenge." He actually agreed to it. Many people were shocked. Who was Ling Jiu to think that he would actually accept Long Fei's challenge? Of course, Yi Jingyun, Nan Gongyan, and the rest tensed up and immediately started to worry for Long Fei. Because if Long Fei lost, then he would forever lose the qualifications to continue participating in the examination. If not, then there might still be some leeway for this matter. If Ling Jiu accepted the challenge, then Long Fei had no way out. Ling Jiu's identity was not the examiner after all, and the points he got from the pill could only be used as a reference. At that time, he would not be able to kill Long Fei in one hit. However, right now he did not have to worry. Winning against Long Fei was easy, because if he did that, the task that Zhan Wushuang gave him would be completed. The Yiseng slightly said, "Elder, I am afraid this is not good. He is just an examination disciple. You are the hall master of the alchemy hall." Ling Jiu sneered coldly. A mere examination disciple dares to be so arrogant and belittling others. Don't you think I should teach him a lesson and let him know how high the sky is and how thick the ground is? At this moment, Long Fei slightly said, "If I lose, I will immediately leave the mountain and take the examination. But if I force myself, what do you think? Beat me?" "Ha ha ha." Ling Jiu laughed out loud and said, "Brat, just with those words of yours, I can kill you right now." Long Fei was not afraid and asked again, "What do you think?" Ling Jiu asked, "What do you want?" The corner of Long Fei's mouth hooked up as he coldly laughed and said, "What I want is very simple." His voice carried killing intent. It was incomparably thick. Ling Jiu's eyes narrowed slightly as a trace of killing intent also flashed across his eyes. He said solemnly, "Brat, today I will make you die a graveless death." Long Fei said, "Don't talk anymore, let's begin." "Exactly. Stop beeping. Hurry up and start. I can't wait." The sleeping beauty clenched her fists with an angry expression. Chapter 14:01, Not Powder Making Competition. Battling Lives, Chapter 1401, not powder-making competition. Battling Lives, all right. If you want to be reborn so quickly, I'll grant you that wish. Ling Ju was also angry. At this time, Nangong Yen pulled Long Fei and said, Long Fei, he is the hall master of the pellet hall. Why don't you compare alchemy with him? What are you thinking? Even if the pill you forge is better than his, who will judge it? If he can call the spirit-gathering pill you refined as a waste powder and the pill you refined as a waste, how are you going to compete with him? Yi Jingyan also said, that's right. If there is no judgment, even a white one would say that it is a black one. How do we compete? This is a serious problem. To be able to say that a perfection-level spirit-gathering pill was a waste powder, and to also say that Long Fei's medicinal pellet was a waste powder, he was the hall master of the pellet hall, he was the authority. What can you do? Long Fei was too weak. He was simply unable to compete with Ling Jiu. Yiseng walked over and whispered, Are you crazy? What are you thinking? He could not understand why Long Fei wanted to follow Ling Jiu. Even if the pill was refined better than him, the result was still the same. Ling Jiu would never admit defeat. There would only be one outcome to this competition. Long Fei lost. If he lost, he would be defeated. Not only would he be expelled from the assessment department, he might even invite calamity to himself. Song Kuang shook his head. He woke up from his coma and was about to explode with anger, but when he thought about the slap just now, his body shrank back. He did not dare step forward and said, Long Fei, if you accept the challenge, you cannot retreat. Long Fei ignored him. Regarding Nangong Yen, Yi Jingyun, and the others only smiled and asked, What do I want to do? What I want to do is very simple. I want his life. The three of them were taken aback. Why did alchemy want to take his life and defeat him? It was impossible. Long Fei walked onto the stage of powder-making competition, looked at Ling Jiu, who was at the other side, and smiled. Can we start? Ling Jiu smirked and said, Sure. Right at this moment, Ling Jiu moved. With a flip of his right hand, he summoned out a cauldron. The pill furnace was carved with all kinds of rare treasures and beasts. Furthermore, they were all emitting a golden light. All kinds of explosions could be heard from the pill furnace, as if lightning was rolling inside. As soon as the pill furnace appeared, Yiseng's face turned even uglier, and he said solemnly, Authentic artifact, 10,000 beast spiritual stove. Huh. Yi Jingyun was startled and asked, What authentic artifact? Is an authentic artifact some kind of weapon or defensive spirit treasure? Why is it a pill furnace? The Yiseng said, He's different from other martial arts training S. His greatest strength originates from the alchemy technique. He uses his own alchemy technique to nurture authentic artifact. I didn't expect him to summon the authentic artifact the moment he appeared. It looks like... Yiseng looked at Long Fei and sighed. Long Fei is definitely going to lose. I'm afraid that today... Yiseng laughed bitterly and said, He's too young, full of vigor and vigor. He doesn't know how to endure. What a pity. He valued Long Fei a lot. However, Long Fei's performance today had made him feel very disappointed. If he had been patient for a while, there wouldn't have been so many things. Moreover, that pellet, even if Ling Jiu were to say it was 0, it would not count. But Long Fei had taken his own future and Ling Jiu's powder-making competition at once. It was inevitable for him to lose, and Long Fei would also forever withdraw from the examination of the Tower Question of God. Nangong Yen also frowned. She was thinking about how to let Long Fei live on. Yi Jingyun was extremely anxious and asked, Then what do we do now? Call Young Master Long down. Song Kuang became excited and immediately laughed The powder-making competition has already begun. He just came down to admit defeat, and also needs to be punished. Ha ha. In the end, he would still be expelled out of the tower question of God. I might even die here today. Song Kuang laughed complacently. He hated Long Fei to the bones. Yi Jingyun's eyes stared at Song Kuang and said, "You're the one that F*** King wants to die here. Isn't the slap from Yong Master Long still not good enough?" The corner of Song Kuang's eyes twitched and said, "Yi Jingyun, what are you clamoring about? Are you my opponent?" Yi Jingyun was so angry that he was stopped by the Iseng. Iseng looked at Song Kuang coldly and said, "Someone is backing you up, but if you dare provoke again, I will not be polite." Song Kuang grinned and did not dare speak further. On stage of powder-making competition, Ling Jiu took out the authentic artifact and said, "Facing any kind of challenge, I will not lower my guard. No matter how much of a useless opponent I am, I will do my best. Because I like the feeling of crushing others. I like the feeling of crushing someone to the ground and making them unable to get up. Brat, just enjoy it." As soon as he finished, the fire blazed, and boom, boom, boom. It also had a golden divine power. The authentic artifact and furnace released a strong resonance, and wave after wave of power erupted with incomparable intensity. This was completely different from the alchemy technique that Long Fei had seen before. They were two completely different worlds' alchemy technique. The reason Ling Jiu could become the master of the tower question of God was not because of luck, but because of his absolute strength. Long Fei was secretly shocked. Authentic artifact was a pill furnace. This was something he did not expect, but he wasn't worried. And, more importantly, this time the powder-making competition was not about the pills, but his life. Long Fei moved and said, "Are you ready?" The Sleeping Beauty giggled and said, "It's been prepared since a long time ago." Long Fei said, "Then let's begin." Rumble! Long Fei's holy source fiercely exploded. Following that, the flames on the fire started to burn crazily, as though it was burning up after touching the flames. Seeing such a big fire, Ling Jiu also laughed disdainfully. "You don't even know what alchemy is." But at this moment, his body suddenly sank down, and for some reason, he suddenly slapped himself. His hand was completely out of control. Hiss! Ah! When he threw down the spirit grass, he immediately started stir-frying in the scalding pill furnace, just like cooking, except he used a spatula to fry the vegetables. He had his hands. The whole hand was red-hot and swollen. Not even that. As if the stir-frying wasn't satisfying enough, he dipped his head and stuck his entire head in. Ah! Ah! It was a mad scream, but at the same time, it was a frenzy. Use your face for alchemy? Wow, I've never seen him before. He really is worthy of being the hall master of the pill hall. He is really awesome. Long Fei laughed and said coldly in his heart, "Powder-making competition? You're F** King thinking too much. Your father is fighting for your life." The Sleeping Beauty giggled. "You call him rampant. Yet you actually say that the pill refined by my master is a waste powder. Humph, I am very angry, and the consequences are serious." Ah! Ling Jiu pulled his head out. His face was charred black, and his eyes looked like they were being burned blind. This was only the beginning. Chapter 1402, Is That Enough? Not Yet. Chapter 1402, Is That Enough? Not Yet. No matter what kind of pill Long Fei refined, even if he used the power of old Lord Taishang's possession on his alchemy, the final result would still be the same. Thus, Long Fei had planned from the beginning that he would not fight for the pills, but for his life, Ling Jiu's life. His flames suddenly burst forth, causing Ling Jiu's tense state of mind to loosen slightly. At the same time, the Sleeping Beauty's idea entered his body. It could be said that he was completely unable to withstand it. Stir fry with your left hand and stir fry with your right. He turned his head and put his feet in to stir fry. Finally, even the authentic artifact that he had nurtured for 100 years, the 10,000 beast spiritual stove, seemed to be unable to bear it any longer. It directly split apart. The furnace exploded. Long Fei immediately laughed loudly. Quickly come and see, the Pellet Hall Master's alchemy has exploded. He's really too powerful. Wow, I've never seen such a powerful person before. It was also at this time Long Fei retracted his flames and took out a pill that was the size of his pinky. I'm sorry. However, beating you is enough. The cauldron exploded, and all the pills were destroyed. Only Long Fei could refine pills so easily that even waste powder could defeat him. Everyone below the stage was dumbfounded. What the hell is going on? Was Ling Jiu possessed? Seeing the 100-year-old authentic artifact explode with his own eyes, Ling Jiu's heart was filled with incomparable pain. Then he saw Long Fei's complacent look. Anger assaulted the heart and could not be vented. A mouthful of blood spurted out. Ling Jiu's body trembled. His face became extremely pale, and he became extremely miserable. You dog, what evil technique did you use? Long Fei laughed coldly. Elder Ling, so what if I lose? You say, I use the evil techniques? Couldn't afford to lose? If you can't afford to lose, just say so. I'll let you win. What lousy hall master is he? In my opinion, it's just a pile of dog shit. Ling Jiu's eyes bulged out and stared straight at Long Fei and said, You? Long Fei said, What about me? Are you at alchemy? Are you cooking? So, what if you're cooking? You even fried the wok. I have to say, you're really too awesome. Thinking about how his authentic artifact had been crippled, Ling Jiu couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of black blood and said, Brat, this matter isn't over yet, this matter. It's indeed not over. Long Fei took a step forward and said, Remember our bet? Ling Jiu's eyes turned sinister, and his body trembled slightly. His current internal injuries were severe, and with the additional impact from the authentic artifact's collapse, he would definitely not be able to hold on if Long Fei were to make a move. What do you want to do? Long Fei sneered. I don't want to do anything. I just want you to fulfill the bet. Ling Jiu's expression changed greatly, and he immediately said, Iseng, stop him. Kill this brat for me. Iseng acted as if he didn't hear anything and said, Elder, what are you saying? I can't hear you. Please speak louder. Just now, the pressure had caused him to kneel down, and his heart was filled with rage. Although he did not know what kind of evil technique Long Fei used to turn Ling Jiu into this state, but he felt great. Although his expression did not change on the surface, his heart felt extremely good. To stop Long Fei, he was more or less stupid. Ling Jiu's expression became even more unsightly, and he retreated continuously, saying, Kid, I am the hall master of the Pellet Hall. If you dare to even touch a hair on my head, the Tower Question of God will definitely not let you go. Is the hall master of the Pill Hall that incredible? Is it that amazing? Long Fei slowly walked forward and coldly laughed. Weren't you very arrogant just now? Weren't you awesome just now? Didn't you say that the pellet I refined was a waste powder? Didn't you say that lousy isn't qualified to challenge you? F***CK. Long Fei's voice suddenly exploded out as he roared out fiercely and said, Now, if you continue to be so arrogant, let this old man see, Hallmaster Dan. Bah, your face is so ugly. The black and white were reversed, and the demonic god was angry. Bullying others? Long Fei would never tolerate such a thing. After being scolded continuously, Ling Jiu was unable to say a single word. He could only stare at Long Fei, his face turning paler and paler as blood continued to spurt out from his mouth. His heart was filled with fear. At this moment, suddenly, Long Fei suddenly rushed forward. Ling Jiu's body trembled as he said, "You dare." Long Fei's palms were like thunder as they heavily smashed outwards, and he said, "Why would I not dare? Rumble." His fists punched out, but in that instant, a thick air shield door descended, just like Bloom's door within the game. The golden door. Long Fei's fists collided with it. Both of his arms were numb. His fists cracked, and blood flowed out. His body was also knocked backward. Instantly, a few elders descended from the sky, heavily landing beside Ling Jiu. One of the elders' voice sunk and said lightly, "Enough. Is that enough?" "I don't think so. If you say it's enough, then it's enough. Then, wouldn't Lousy lose a lot of face?" In that instant, the holy source erupted. The dense holy source spirit chi burst out. Long Fei took a step forward. The strong force was like steam coming out from his body. One step at a time. The stage was exploding, quickly rushing up, both fists shaking. A ball of holy source condensed into a ball of light the color of Shuana by heavily rushing out. "I said enough." The old man was also slightly angry, his powerful strength pressing down heavily on Long Fei's body. Buzz. It directly trapped Long Fei and caused him to be unable to move. This was a strand of divine power, the power that Long Fei was unable to break through. Of course, that was his own strength. The idea moved. Xiu Luo divine body. Buzz. When the power of the king's inheritance exploded, it immediately broke through the god power on his body, suddenly increasing his speed. He threw a heavy punch at Ling Jiu's face. Black and white are inseparable. Even a trash like you can be an elder. Boom. Puff. Ling Jiu spat out a mouthful of blood as his body flew backwards. At this moment, the other elder was enraged. "How dare you?" He threw a punch. Bam. Long Fei flew out 100 meters and landed heavily on the ground. The ground was smashed apart, and Long Fei took the opportunity to spew out a mouthful of blood. "Who do you think you are? What qualifications do you have to criticize the elders?" The elder said angrily. Long Fei did not wipe away the blood on the corner of his mouth. Another clan elder shouted again, "Long Fei, I warn you, enough. Enough." "Ha ha. Why didn't you say enough when he was black and white? Is it enough to be the savior now? You guys, enough. Lousy doesn't have enough." You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.